Sasuke, do you have a way? Is there any way to send White Fang back to his time? Hearing Naruto's question, Sasuke nodded, yes. After getting Sasuke's answer, Naruto finally breathed a sigh of relief. As long as there is a way to send back people who don't belong to this time. That's how I came here. As long as I use a special artifact, I can send White Fang back to his time. When Sasuke finished speaking, Kakashi seemed to hear it. He suddenly turned his head to look at Sasuke and Naruto. It seems that Kakashi doesn't want White Fang to just go back. The reason is very simple, not only because of reluctance, but also because Kakashi knows very well that at this point in time, his father may be waiting to commit suicide when he returns. If you don't send your father back, then you can still let your father continue. But if he was sent back like this, then I am afraid that his father would have no regrets and choose to die directly. Wait. Sasuke, Naruto. You guys. Can you? Looking at Naruto and Sasuke, Kakashi still couldn't quite say what he wanted to say. Can you give me a day, please? Looking at Kakashi with a begging look. Naruto froze for a moment, then turned to look at Sasuke. Of course, Teacher Kakashi. Sasuke glanced at Kakashi. Actually, no matter how long it is, it's for me to send him back to the point where he left. Even if you have lived in this world for hundreds of years, you only need to send him back to his time before dying. It was said that Kakashi's eyes sparkled. Really? Sasuke. Sasuke nodded. However, White Fang on the side smiled. Thank you for your kindness. One day is enough. No matter how much time Kakashi has, it doesn't make much sense. I am very satisfied to see you like this now. However, since this is the world of the future, I don't know if I can see what it will look like. Saying this, White Fang looked at Naruto. After all, Naruto is the Hokage of this era. Although he is young, his strength has completely surpassed himself. I also fully felt the battle just now. This young Hokage is so strong that even when he fought with him just now, he didn't take it seriously at all. At this moment, calm down and feel the chakra wave of Naruto. The more you feel it carefully, the more startled White Fang is, not only being able to feel Naruto's own powerful chakra. You can even feel chakra, the tail beast inside Naruto. Master Hokage, are you Jinchuriki? Hearing this, Naruto froze for a moment. That's right. White Fang was a little surprised that Konoha would agree to let Jinchuriki be Hokage. Seems to understand White Fang's question. Sasuke said directly, Naruto has 9 tailed beasts in his body. All of them are in his body, and he can perfectly mix the power emperor of these tailed beasts. Perfect control? 9 tailed beasts? Wait, 9? Not to say 9 tails but 9. Has Konoha collected all the tailed beasts? After a moment of daze, White Fang smiled. It seems that this era has experienced some major changes. Let's go. Go back to Konoha first, Naruto said. Sasuke looked at Bushi's dead body on the ground. Take this guy's body with you. The corpses of the Otsutsuki clan are also of high research value. Konoha village. In Hokage's office, Gaara, Darui, Bai, Haito and others gathered at the same time. Of course there is also Sasuke, and at the same time there are shinobu of each department. Konoha, Shikamaru, Sai, Department of Mist Shinobi, Chojuro. Sand Shinobi Department, Konkuro. Ministry of Cloud Shinobi, Omoi. Department of Rock Shinobi, Terracotta, and others are also gathered here. We are discussing together about the Otsutsuki attack. The Otsutsuki attack has actually come to an end, and the more important issue now is that inexplicable forces have caused White Fang to come from his time to this time. Master Sasuke, don't even you know what power caused this phenomenon? The person who asked the question was Shikamaru. The others looked at Sasuke and said that these people feel very awkward now. Not because of seeing a young Sasuke again, but because of seeing a young Naruto. It doesn't matter that Sasuke is young, after all, this guy is a monster from the beginning to the end. And Naruto has also become younger. This change makes both Haito and Bai somewhat envious. Young. No girl can refuse. But now no one cares about whether they feel uncomfortable. Sasuke glanced at everyone. His expression looked a little weird, and he glanced at everyone. Maybe, this phenomenon is caused by me, but it's not certain. Caused by Sasuke? Everyone frowned. Sasuke began to explain briefly. My ability, the God Spirit, can deprive anyone, or even any object, of all abilities. To put it simply, it is to pack an ability directly and take it away from the opponent. However, in the process of using this ability, Dao Shi suddenly blew himself up and was affected by his power. My God Spirit was not able to strip Pu Shi's ability. ***, perhaps this is the cause of this change. Saying that, Sasuke looked at everyone with some embarrassment. However, they don't actually blame Sasuke for this kind of thing. The point is how to solve this problem now. However, Sasuke's ability, so godlike, really shocked them. Not only can deprive people, but even the ability of objects. If this ability is strong to a certain limit, does that mean that the gravity of the entire world can be directly deprived? Doesn't that mean that the world will lose its momentum in an instant? Or if the temperature of the sun is deprived, then the sun will lose its original temperature. Thinking of this, everyone looked at Sasuke with even more fear. This guy. No wonder that in the Fourth Ninja World War, first Hokage directly lost his blood succession limit. It turned out to be because of this ability. Sasuke, do you have a way to eliminate it? Just White Fang is fine, the consequences are quite serious. Naruto but has. And at the moment in Konoha village, White Fang followed Kakashi to watch the change of Konoha. Is this the future world? White Fang looked at all kinds of novel things, and at the same time realized that the ninja world had become a whole. This makes White Fang feel very unbelievable, uniting the ninja village. Unexpectedly, one day the 5 great powers would put down their hatred and merge into one. Konoha's 6th Hokage can actually do this kind of thing. Naruto made a lot of effort. White Fang smiled, watching his old son gently patted his shoulder brother. While the two were talking, laughing and walking. Suddenly, the son roared. Ha ha ha. My uncle finally came out again. Ha 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 ha. Hey. What is this place? Humanity. Damn. Damn humans, are they coming again? I'm going to tear you. These damn humans into pieces. Boom boom boom. Continuous roar sounded. In an instant, the storm swept away, and a strong storm broke out. Blast directly inside Konoha village. Konoha village, which was not peaceful at first, suddenly burst out a large number of ninjas. What is that? What a big monster. Such a huge monster, this guy actually has such amazing chakra fluctuations. As the ninjas of the new era, they have never seen tailed beasts at all, and even few people have heard of such things as tailed beasts. After all, the only Jinchuriki of the new era is their 6th Hokage. Gathered all the tailed beast chakra. In that case, what's the use of mentioning the tailed beast? The older generation of ninjas looked at the tailed beast in front of them with disbelief. How come? Why is one tail in this kind of place? Is there something wrong with Hokage-sama? However, in the next second, Naruto and Sasuke suddenly appeared, and Naruto looked at them and said, I'm fine. This one tail didn't escape from my body. Now the tailed beasts in Naruto's body, only 9 tails have consciousness. The consciousness of other tailed beasts basically fell into a state of deep sleep, which was the result of Sage of 6 Paths' special handling at the beginning. Otherwise, the 9-tailed beasts themselves would have some conflicts with each other, and they wouldn't say anything because of themselves. But after a long time, there will definitely be problems, so Sage of 6 Paths directly put their consciousness into a deep sleep. In this way, Naruto can master the power of the tailed beast without any influence. It's not the one tail in Master Hokage, so where did this one tail come from? Sasuke and Naruto glanced at each other. Sure enough, it's not just White Fang who was impressed. Gaara, Bai, Darui and others who followed at this moment also arrived one after another. Another one tail. Naruto, isn't this the tail beast that came out of your body? Darui asked again. Naruto nodded and assured, it's definitely not a tailed beast inside me. Hearing this sentence, Gaara's eyes flashed a strange light, and Shinshi, who also came not far away at the moment, came to Gaara's side. Father, what kind of monster is this? Remember the tailed beast I told you about? Tailed beast? Shinshi froze for a moment. This is Sanagakure's tailed beast, one-tail Shukuru? But didn't my father say before that the tailed beast is in Hokage's body? Why now? No matter what this guy's situation is, we have to catch her first. Both Sai and Shikamaru looked at one tail who was preparing to wreak havoc. If the current Konoha village is damaged a little bit, it will be quite troublesome to restore. Absolutely not. Saying that, Naruto was about to make a move, suddenly. Naruto froze for a moment. Salsa. The surging gold dust flowed and formed a wall of gold dust in front of Sasuke and others. In an instant, the 4 sides of one-tail Shuhei were completely blocked. Bastard, just stay with me. A sudden surge of placer gold swept up. At this moment, the ninjas of Konoha, as well as the young ghosts of the new generation, all watched it. What kind of technique is this? So much gold dust can be used to attack. Why does this technique seem to be somewhat similar to 5th Kage's technique? Just thinking about it, one-tail Shuhei has been instantly wrapped in a pyramid formed by placer gold. The pyramid formed by the condensed gold dust directly suppressed one tail. Seeing this, Gaara's eyes sparkled. With a sudden wave of his hand, even more terrifying sand flew up from around Konoha, and quickly gathered in the direction of Shuhei. On the basis of the pyramid, it was condensed into a larger sand pillar, formed by 4 sand pillars, and the explosive sealing force was even stronger. Shukaku's voice disappeared in the blink of an eye. This is Kazekage-sama's technique. Did Kazekage-sama make a move? It's so strong. The ninja of Konoha also sighed. Although their Hokage is the strongest, the other 4 shadows are not just talking. The strength is still quite astonishing. Shinshi's father is so strong. That monster was suppressed in the blink of an eye. Boruto said, turning his head to look at a group of people standing on the roof in the distance. Among them is the figure of his father. The person with a small gourd hanging on Naruto's side and waist should be Shinshi's father, 5th Kazekage Gaara. However, at this time Gaara suddenly stepped on the sand and floated up. Look into the distance. A cloud of gold sand also flew over. The two stopped in midair. The distance between them was within Tianmi's position. The other parties stared at Gaara, and the surroundings suddenly became much quieter. The two looked at each other for a full minute. Are you Gaara? Gaara looked at the other party, although he was still relatively calm, but his slightly trembling eyes betrayed him. Father. Father. Hearing the other party's voice, Luo Sha is 100% sure it is Gaara. Whether it is Shu or Gaara's current appearance, although there are some discrepancies, how could Dad not recognize his son? Shinshi looked at Gaara with a puzzled face, and then turned to look at Luosha, who used placer gold. Who is this person? He can use the same ability as my father. This guy also has the magnet style's blood succession limit. I thought about it. Suddenly Luosha's voice came, Gaara. Why did you suddenly become like this, as if grown up? 4th Kazekage Luo-san. Sasuke frowned. Not only one-tail Shuhei was influenced to come into this world, even 4th Kazekage also appeared. This is just what I see, and how many people will appear in this world where I can't see? There is simply no way to be sure. Thinking of this, Sasuke's mood also began to become heavier. Sasuke is a little unclear about the consequences of such a change. I always feel that if things go on like this, everything will end up in chaos. 4th Kazekage, this is the future, the ninja world of the future. I am 6th Hokage. Because of the battle with the enemy, a situation beyond our control occurred, which made you subordinate to your time and come to the future. Naruto flew into the sky to explain to Luo Sha. However, upon hearing Naruto's explanation, Luo Sha's eyes suddenly shrank. Future? No wonder Gaara is the way it is. How's the village? Gaara. It seemed to be accepted in a blink of an eye that this was something that belonged to the future. Gaara nodded, everything is fine. That's right, then I'm relieved. But why don't you have the aura of the tailed beast chakra on your body? How did the tail come out? With your strength, it is impossible for one tail to escape, and why is one tail still alive without you? Luo Sha had too many questions, and it would take a lot of time to explain. Gaara let out a sigh of relief. I will explain to you slowly. Now we still need to strengthen the seal of one tail to avoid any problems with it again. It seems that there is something unspeakable, and it is not convenient to say it now. Luo Sha understood Gaara's meaning and nodded. At this time, Luo Sha noticed that Shinshi also possessed the magnet style's blood succession limit, and it was hard not to notice it. This brat. Gaara, my son, Shinki. Gaara's casual first sentence made Luo Sha feel a little nervous all of a sudden. The body seems to be very stiff. Seeing Shinshi looked a little shy for a while. And Shinshi looked at Luo Sha curiously. He is also a magnet-style ninja, and his hair color is the same as his father's. This man. Could it be father's father? If so, he is his grandfather? Shinshi was also a little overwhelmed suddenly, but compared to Luo Sha, he seemed much calmer. Everyone saw that Luo Sha's state was a bit weird. Sasuke glanced at Naruto, and now this situation can only be handled by Naruto temporarily. And what he has to do is to send all these people back after the work is over. Otherwise, if they still stay in this era, it may cause a terrible butterfly effect. So it is best to send them away immediately. But Kakashi had already promised to let White Fang stay for a day, but now 4th Kazekage, it is impossible to send him away directly. Naturally, I have to wait until tomorrow to send the other party back. Sasuke sighed. Naruto beckons Gaara to bring his father to the Hokage building. Otherwise, staying here all the time is too eye-catching. However, even if a few people left, a huge pyramid with 4 sand pillars could seal the tailed beast. It's hard not to get noticed. The sudden appearance of fourth Sasuke directly aroused the curiosity of countless ninjas. Fourth Sasuke? Doesn't that mean he is fifth Sasuke's father? It's amazing, you can actually control gold dust and use it to attack. The magnet style of the Kazubu is really strong. Although it may be much inferior to Hokage-sama, I also want to have such power. Konoha's ninjas have already started a heated discussion. But after the excitement, many ninjas began to worry. First, Konoha's White Fang appeared. A Ren who should have died a long time ago, suddenly appeared on the battlefield in good condition. Even though he doesn't belong to this era, he came here. Many of Konoha's ninjas didn't know what kind of existence Muyi Baya was. But now they are clear, and they will understand after a simple investigation. One of the 7 colors of Konoha, he was once the man who made the whole ninja world fearful. It's just that he was forced to die because he chose to give up the mission and saved his companion during a mission. Such a dark history was unearthed, and the ninjas of Konoha immediately felt very uncomfortable. Konoha of that era, is it really that dark? And now it is not only Muyi Baya, but also Lord Fourth Sasuke from the past. Such existences all of a sudden appeared. No matter how stupid ninjas are, they will think of something. If it is really people from the past, they have appeared in this era one after another. What will it be like then? How should we deal with these people who suddenly appeared in this era? It is obviously impossible to let it go. How to manage it if you want to manage it, and they don't belong to this era, so it's obviously not appropriate to keep them here. For example, Fourth Sasuke, at his point in time, he was Sasuke, however at this point in time, Sasuke already had Gaara. What's up with a fourth Sasuke popping up out of nowhere? Should Sasuke ninjas listen to fourth Sasuke or fifth Sasuke? Thinking of this, the ninjas started to worry, let alone Naruto who was already in a state of distress. Fourth Sasuke learned that in today's ninja world, there are no 5 major countries. There are only joint ninja villages, and the head of the 5 shadows of the first generation of joint ninja villages today is Hokage. Immediately, there was a strong hostility towards Naruto. Ninjas who came out of the era of fourth Sasuke will naturally think that this is just a trick used by Naruto to dominate the ninja world. After all, he has not experienced the 4 ninja world wars, so he cannot understand the fetters created by fighting side by side. Anyway, Naruto has told fourth Sasuke that he will be sent back tomorrow. And this night, fourth Sasuke wandered around Konoha with Shinji and Jingjun for a long time. Even Jingjun himself was surprised that his grandfather turned out to be fourth Sasuke. This is something that I never dreamed of, and why I didn't inherit magnet style. Hateful. How cool would it be to inherit this power? Early the next morning, in one of the gymnasiums within the Hokage building. There is a lot of space here. Fourth Sasuke and White Fang stood here, waiting for Sasuke to send them back. After talking to Gaara and Kakashi at the end, neither of them was hypocritical. It is true that they do not belong to this era, and it would be good to return to their own era as soon as possible. Sasuke. Suddenly Naruto opened his mouth, although he didn't want to say this sentence. But I have to say, I'm afraid if they go back with memories of this era. Hearing this, the faces of the others changed slightly. Yes, if they go back with the memories of this era, there is no guarantee that they will not do something. And Sasuke smiled, don't worry, I will use distinguished heavenly gods to directly erase their memories of this time. Distinguished heavenly gods? Kakashi looked back at Sasuke in surprise. Sasuke still uses this pupil technique. Itachi smiled, is it the pupil art stripped from Shisui's eyes? Hearing this, Sasuke nodded, that's right. Also, Shisui's ability is in your hands, so you can use it better. Sasuke smiled, ready to release the distinguished heavenly gods. A bit of unwillingness flashed in fourth Sasuke's eyes. I originally thought that after going back, I would reform Sanagakure well, and I would never let Konoha's Hokage accomplish his conspiracy again in the future. But now it seems impossible. Although Luo Sha is not very clear about the distinguished heavenly gods technique, it seems to involve Uchiha in particular. Explain that this is a pupil technique, and Uchiha's pupil technique is quite tricky. Being able to erase memories is obviously a must. The other party will not use the pupil technique to brag. I'm about to start, said that everyone backed away. Sasuke prepares to take out the plow before wiping both of their memories with distinguished heavenly gods. But the moment Sasuke took out the Otsutsuki artifact plow, Sasuke froze. How come? Been working on issues with Otherworld and Ten Tails yesterday. Sasuke hasn't even seen his artifact plow yet. But now take it out and look carefully, there is a layer of ice crystals on it, no doubt. To be precise, it should be more like crystallization. Not like so-called ice crystals. It felt like the plow had been frozen by some force. It's not that the cold air is frozen, but that it is directly isolated by some kind of force. Sasuke couldn't feel the plow at all. What's wrong? Naruto asked with some doubts. Sasuke frowned, and didn't answer immediately but exerted force directly, preparing to crush the ice crystal violently. But as the power of Sasuke's explosion became stronger and stronger, this thing didn't respond at all. This feeling. Sasuke seemed to understand a little bit. Otsutsuki artifact plow, as if frozen by time. Seeing Sasuke's complexion getting worse and worse, Naruto quickly asked, Sasuke, what's wrong with you? Sasuke turned his head to look at Naruto. This thing is frozen in time and cannot be used. Unavailable. What do you mean? Sasuke smiled. In other words, I can't send them back to their time. Frozen in time? What kind of description is this? Naruto took the plow from Sasuke's hand and looked at the ice crystals on it. He raised his hand to try to attack, to see if he could break the ice crystals that looked very wrong. But when he exerted his strength, the next second had no effect. Naruto starts trying other attacks. 10 minutes later. The entire stadium has already become a mess. And Naruto looked at the Otsutsuki artifact type that the ground was still intact and the ice crystals hadn't changed at all. I couldn't help panting. Now, what to do? Sasuke, whose face has long been extremely gloomy, is also thinking about this question now. Why is the artifact plow suddenly frozen in time? What is going on? This is equivalent to making it impossible for these people who came to the new era due to chaos to go back. Raising the hand, Sasuke sucks the plow directly into his hand. Then turned around to leave. I want to find out what the hell is going on. Orochimaru is still in Otoshi village. Orochimaru? Is Sasuke going to find Orochimaru at this time? Naruto nodded. Yes. Maybe give this thing to Orochimaru to study, he will give some clues, I'll go find him. After saying that, Sasuke disappeared instantly. Even this time Sasuke didn't bother to use Fele Shendu, and directly used the acquired hand power to instantly transfer out of Konoha village. Immediately afterwards, the body soared into the sky and flew towards the direction of Yanin village. Then 2 rays of light followed closely behind. This is Shigego and Kimimaro, they have been lurking around Konoha for so many days. Now it's finally time for Sasuke to leave, and they still returned to Yinren village. The two seemed a little excited. It's been a long time since I visited Ninja village. And when Sasuke left, Luo Sha smiled inadvertently. It seems that there is no way to go back in a short time. White Fang, who was a little disappointed, sighed, that's true, but it's a good thing for us. Luo Sha froze for a moment. Did this guy think the same as him? It would be nice to have a little more time to spend with loved ones. Hearing this, Luo Sha smiled awkwardly. Yes. Naruto looked at White Fang. Senior White Fang, 4th Kazekage, I'm sorry I can't send you to your time right away. But the current situation is unclear, so if you can please. Naruto, I want to take my father back to the village to have a look. It was reasonable for Gaara to make this request at this time, but Naruto felt that they should not be allowed to leave. After all, 4th Kazekage does not belong to this era. But Gaara's request could not be easily rejected. Being able to take a look at the village before leaving, I have no regrets. Luo Sha smiled and spoke before Naruto led the conversation. This made it even more difficult for Naruto to say anything for a while. It seems that it can only be defaulted, and Luo Sha glanced at Gaara. By the way, Gaara, when you leave, remember to take the one-tail shrine crane with you. Take one tail? No, Lord Shukaku 4th generation, you can't take it away. It was Shikamaru who spoke. He had vaguely sensed that 4th Kazekage had some malicious intentions. How could Shikamaru not see his subconscious rejection of Konoha? Once Shuhei is taken away by the other party, I still don't know what the other party will do when he comes back. Moreover, Shuhei does not belong to this era, so he must be sent back to the original era as soon as possible. No? This Konoha ninja, Shukuru is my sand shinobi thing. I am not from this era, but Shukuru is also not from this era. Let me take care of it. Is there anything wrong with bringing back my time together? That's a good thing to say. But Naruto didn't approve of 4th Kazekage and Gaara taking Shukaku away. Shuhei, we will help you keep it, and when you go back, we will take it back together. Shikamaru continued. However, Luo Sha's eyes suddenly became cold. Help us keep it? Will it be kept on your Hokage in the end? Luo Sha turned her head and looked at Naruto angrily. Shuzuru, who originally belonged to Sand Shinobi, is now on Naruto's body. The only Jinchuriki of this era. However, such a thing was absolutely impossible in the past. Luo Sha's eyes changed, and the temperature of the air seemed to drop by a few points. I felt a surge of cold air. Naruto set his sights on Gaara. Gaara, don't you? I support my father's claim that Naruto Shukaku belongs to Sanagakure. Hearing the word Sanagakure again, Naruto froze for a moment. It seems that the so-called Ninja United Village, in the final analysis, is just because his personal strength is too strong. No one dared to resist, so I had to compromise the result. But even because of this, as long as it persists for another few decades, when the new generation of ninjas grow up, they will naturally think that all ninjas are one, so that there will be no big conflicts between them. At most, in the 5 ninja exchange battles every year, there will be some small frictions in the battles. But such friction is within an acceptable range. And now, even Gaara doesn't seem to have any intention of joining the ninja village. Naruto was suddenly a little disappointed. Is it all wishful thinking? Direction: we will keep the one-tail Shuhi in a safe place until Sasuke fixes that thing again, and we will find out about 10 stars and my father's departure from this world. Gaara actually doesn't care too much about One-Tail's power. But One-Tail Shuzuru really should belong to Sanagakure, the original Naruto and Sage of 6 Paths, without asking the opinions of other villages. Just make the decision without authorization and gather all the tail beasts and hand them over to Naruto. In fact, this has already made other villages dissatisfied. It's just that it's not explained for some reason. And now Gaara wants to tell Naruto that Shuzuru belongs to Sanagakure. Even if Naruto wants to use it, he should ask Sanagakure for his opinion. Okay. Gaara, I hope you're staying sane. Hearing this, Gaara nodded. Don't worry, I will. With that said, he turned and left. However, at this moment, Bai and the others sighed silently. Today's situation caused some cracks in their respective hearts. The United Ninja Village, in fact, is not really integrated into. And at this moment, suddenly multiple ninjas appeared behind the shadows using the body flicker technique. Mizube Anon knelt directly in front of Shiro. It's not good. Mizukage-sama, the late 7 ninja swordsmen, appeared in Mizukage village. They are launching a coup in the village at the moment, and they have the support of a group of elders. They want to restore the former Kirigakure. What? Bai's eyes narrowed suddenly. The late 7 ninja swordsmen appeared in the village? Master Reikage, the dead Cloud Shinobi rebellious ninja, Jinjiao Yinjiao is a brother, also in Reikage village, did the same thing. They colluded with a group of ninjas who want to restore Cloud Shinobi village to support our launch a coup. Darui's complexion is not very good at the moment. Haitu looked at Anren in his own village, shouldn't even Turin village. Dobi secretly nodded with difficulty. Yes. In such a situation, for Zhongying, there is no time to delay at all. Hurry back immediately. As Bai spoke, he looked back at Naruto and said nothing. Naruto also nodded silently. It is better to let Bai go back and deal with the internal affairs of Water Ninja Village. Black Earth and Darui also left one after another, and now they don't have so much time to take care of Sanagakure and Tailed Beast. Now that there is a problem in my own village, this is the most urgent problem to deal with. Seeing all the shadows leave one after another. At this time, Naruto also sighed helplessly, looking back at where Sasuke was standing before. I hope Sasuke can fix that thing as soon as possible, otherwise these ninjas from the past came to the present. It will indeed make the entire ninja world restless. Master Hokage, do we need to support them? Sai asked. However, at this time Shikamaru shook his head. No. You can't do this. Now there are some subtle changes in the relationship between the United Ninja Village. It's better not to do this at this time. Shikamaru glanced at Naruto, wondering if Naruto noticed. Although this crisis comes from these ninjas in the past. But the core problem is that there are still a group of people in the 5 major countries who are unwilling to give up and still want to disintegrate the United Ninja Village. If not, even these ninjas from the past have come to the present. It's a little tricky, but a lot easier to handle. But it is precisely because these people still want to restore the old system of the 5 great nations and 5 great villages that these ninjas from the past, 10 downs, have become a major hidden danger. In the final analysis, it is still because of the old-fashioned problems of this era. Not to mention Kirigakure and others, even Konoha village has such a group of people. Even Naruto's family, the Hyuga clan, also has a group of people who want to disintegrate the United Ninja Village. Even the members of the Nara clan. A small number of people have such thoughts. This is not a big problem in normal times, because the minority has to pay for the majority. So they can't make any sound, but once they encounter a special situation, their voice will be extraordinarily harsh. It is not so easy to deal with it. The current problem should be placed inside the village. Naruto looked at the two with a solemn expression. What I'm most worried about is that the same situation will happen to us. But Naruto thought about it carefully. Konoha should be fine. In other villages, the situation is much more complicated than that of Konoha. So ninjas from the past, it's too easy to stage a coup. On the contrary, the difficulty of launching a coup in Konoha is the highest. However, when Naruto was thinking this way, suddenly there was an explosion outside the window. Naruto looked back in this direction. Is it your own home? Naruto was stunned for a second and then went out through the window, following that direction quickly. It turned into a stream of light almost directly above Konoha and rushed to his home in an instant. While in the air, Naruto noticed that it was indeed his home that exploded. Hinata. Little Aoi. Boruto. Beep. Suddenly Naruto lands and sees the home that has been nearly destroyed. At the door, Boruto was lying on the ground panting heavily, and Hinata at the side was protecting Boruto. Fortunately, Boruto didn't suffer any serious injuries. But the problem is that Hinata herself. Hinata. Naruto rushed forward quickly and helped him up, while Boruto beside him was also anxiously supporting Hinata. Mom. Mom, are you okay? Hinata. Boruto, I'm fine. Naruto. Hinata looked back at Naruto. Aoi was. Beep. Suddenly a black shadow rushed out from the flames. At this moment, Naruto clearly saw that the person in the arms of the other party was his daughter Aoi. Don't worry. Shoukui will be fine. Looking at her husband with a dull face in front of her, Hinata felt very awkward. It even feels like a sister looking at a brother. To be precise, it should be the mother watching the son. After all, Naruto's current age is not much older than Boruto. However, Naruto's eyes remained the same as before. Let Hinata feel very safe. After all, Naruto is the strongest Hokage in history. Boruto, take care of your mother, I'll save Aoi. Boruto froze for a moment. Me too. However, Naruto has disappeared. Boruto looked at Naruto, who left alone again, still feeling very uncomfortable. He is not there at the critical time, and only appears after each time, so there is such a father. Although he wanted to save his sister together, his mother Hinata was also injured and needed someone to take care of her. Boruto helped Hinata up. At this time, Konoha's ninjas had already rushed towards this side. And when Shikamaru and Sai were planning to go after Naruto, before they had time to walk out of the Hokage building, the barrier rose in the next second. Trap them directly in it. A look of surprise flashed in Shikamaru's eyes. This enchantment. Impossible. This enchantment should only be mastered by Konoha ninjas. And because the ninjas of the new era rely too much on scientific ninja tools, and because of the outbreak of war, there is no Jonin that matches their strength. So this enchantment of the Hokage building has long been mastered by ninjas. Now that the enchantment has risen again, it means that at least 3 ninjas of the Jonin level have cast this enchantment at the same time. How can this be? Today's Konoha village is still disappointing. Let a mere Jinchuriki serve as Hokage. What a joint ninja village to build. Obviously has the strength to unify the 5 major countries. Why establish a joint ninja village? A coward like a mouse doesn't deserve to sit in Hokage's place. As he spoke, under Shikamaru's surprised gaze, another person came out from behind the door. An extremely familiar figure. This person is Danzo. Not to mention Sai, he is too familiar with Danzo. Shikamaru's eyes narrowed rapidly. Konoha is the ninja who came from the past to the present. Is it Danzo? And it looks like Danzo didn't just arrive, but has been here for a while. Listening to him, it seems that he has fully understood this era. This shows that Danzo is not new here, and it might even be not alone. Danzo. You. What do you want to do? Shikamaru asked. At the same time, his hand slowly moved towards the back, ready to take out his weapon. Just by looking at Danzo's appearance, you can already understand that the battle is inevitable. What do I want to do? Should ask what Hokage should do. Do you know? When the old man first came here, I was very surprised. I didn't expect Konoha to change so much. But it's a pity that Hokage is too lazy. Said Danzo slowly walked towards Shikamaru. Originally, Konoha should be better. Stopped because of an incompetent Hokage. Obviously owning the entire ninja world of King's Landing, but chose to give up the opportunity to build Konoha into the strongest ninja village. For the so-called peace. What about the Konoha people? Give up the interests of the Konoha people, but say they are for peace. I am very disappointed in Naruto. What to say disappointed? From before to now, Danzo probably has never had any expectations for Naruto. The so-called disappointment is just an excuse for doing everything. Shikamaru saw it but didn't intend to say anything. After all, Danzo is just someone who came from the past to the present. Sooner or later, he will be sent back, but now, Danzo needs to be controlled first. Just as Shikamaru thought so, Sai behind him suddenly put kunai across his neck. Shikamaru froze for a moment. He tilted his head in disbelief and glanced at Sai from the corner of his eye. This guy has joined Danzo. How is that possible? Even if this guy used to be a member of Danzo, it is absolutely impossible for this guy to do this now. After all, Sai now has his own family, as well as his own children. Needless to say how deep his bond with Konoha is. In this case, how could Sai seek refuge with Danzo? Unless he's crazy. But when Shikamaru saw Sai's gaze, Shikamaru seemed to understand. I see. As expected of Mr. Danzo, after so many years, the curse imprint left on Sai's body is still useful. Danzo smiled. Shikamaru, you are as smart as your father Hasashi. Konoha needs talents like you. I won't touch you, but the prerequisite is that you are willing to help me. Hearing this, Shikamaru smiled. Danzo-sama, will you trust me? Hearing this, Danzo's smile became a little stiff. That's right, even if Shikamaru said to help him, he didn't dare to believe it easily. At least until all of Konoha's enemies are dealt with, Danzo can't believe anything Shikamaru says. Right. Now is indeed not the time to use you, you'd better stay well. After the old man clears Konoha, then you can still assist the new Hokage as a think tank. That's the old man. Hearing this, Shikamaru smiled, and it turns out that Danzo's goal is not to become Hokage. Is this possible? An old guy from the past who wants to be the Hokage of the future. And he alone, plus a Sai will not help. Looking at you, you don't seem to think that this old man can accomplish anything. You underestimate me, Shikamaru. I have experienced many ninja wars. Don't underestimate my old bones. As he spoke, a lot of ninjas came out from behind Danzo. These people are still dressed in the ancient Anbu costume. No. These are not Anbu's ninjas, it should be said that they are root ninjas. Shikamaru's eyes narrowed slightly. How can it be? How could there be so many root ninjas around Danzo? The person who came from the past to the future with Danzo this time is not only Danzo, but also his roots. Although not all the members of the root, all the core members of the root have come to the current Konoha. The total number is about 50 people, and these 50 people are all real Jonin-level combat power. Compared with the current Konoha, the fighting power of these 50 people is definitely above all common ninjas. To be honest, what I didn't expect was that the future ninjas would be so weak. It's just two subordinates under the old man, and they can easily deal with the current Konoha Jonin. It seems that in this so-called peaceful age, there is no war, and the strength of ninjas has dropped a lot. Speaking of this, Danzo's eyes flashed with disdain. Too weak, really too weak, the Konoha shinobi of this era would be so weak. As Jonin, even some Jonin didn't even master the second nature transformation. What would such a Jonin be used for? Root ninjas take over the Hokage building. Immediately afterwards, Danzo came to the reference room, looking for something. Maru didn't know what happened next, because he had already been knocked out, and he was temporarily imprisoned with a sealing technique. Konoha, now in the largest square. This is the most prosperous and lively place in Konoha. And this place is now surrounded by ninjas standing on the roofs. The dark forbearance of Konoha behind them has all been brought to justice. It's that simple. The elite at the root met Konoha's dark ninja at this stage, and it was an overwhelming blow. With no effort at all, these dark forbearances can be easily resolved. The ninjas at the root watched the crowds below. The current Konoha is indeed developing very fast, and the number of people in Konoha village has doubled several times. It has almost become the real center of the ninja world. Occupying such an advantage, but still can't think of a way to unify the entire ninja world. Danzo got angrier the more he watched, and he took control of the Hokage building just to get some information. And these things, he will use to awaken the fighting spirit of all Konoha people. Let these people who only know the easy life, kindle a little blood, and thus support him, a seasoned ninja from the past, as their new Hokage. Confronting Naruto head-on, Danzo is not sure, and even said that he has no chance of winning at all. But it's just that there is no chance of winning. If nothing can be done, Danzo will choose to leave. Then look for other opportunities, but now. Do try it out. The huge screen in Konoha Square suddenly lit up. All the Konoha people, even Uchiha Sarada and others who were shopping, looked up curiously. Backquote. What happened to use this screen? It's been a long time since anyone used it. After all, the cost of using it once is not cheap. Is there any new clothes, makeup or shoes coming out? Dai's eyes are shining, and she can't wait to go shopping. In the next second, an old face appeared in front of him. The background is in Hokage's office. Everyone from Konoha, hello. My name is Shimura Danzo. You may be unfamiliar with me, but I believe there should be someone who remembers me. I am Konoha's ninja, but according to the current time, I have been dead for a long time. But an accident brought me from the past to the present. This is an opportunity that God gave me. Let me change Konoha. The current Konoha is too disappointing. In the past, Konoha has put in countless efforts to become the strongest ninja village, and countless ninjas have sacrificed their lives for this. And our Hokage-sama seems to have completely forgotten about those ninjas who sacrificed for Konoha. Even you have forgot the hatred of your family members, and chose to accept your enemies abandoning your family members. Danzo's speech begins. At the same time, Danzo's right eye is slowly releasing Hitomi Ryong. This moment is within the Uchiha clan. Itachi stood up abruptly and looked at Danzo flashing on the TV. Itachi's face turned a little blue. Distinguished heavenly gods? Danzo, this guy, came from the past to the present, and thought of this method. That's right, there was no such thing as a TV in the past, but now that we have this kind of thing, illusions, especially illusions like distinguished heavenly gods, are quite terrifying. Husband, Uchiha Sarada said that she went to Konoha Square to go shopping with her classmates, so isn't she saying? As Mita spoke, Itachi beside him couldn't sit still any longer. You wait for me at home, I'll go find Uchiha Sarada. Now that Konoha is in such a situation, the outside is not in general chaos. However, around the Konoha Square, the Konoha Dark Ninjas who rushed here were all intercepted and killed by the ninjas at the route. Chunin, Genin, look at Jonin and Anin who were so easily killed by each other. For a moment, he didn't dare to move at all. Unexpectedly, he could only stay in the same place quietly, and was so frightened that he didn't even dare to breathe. Looking at these Konoha ninjas, let alone Danzo, even the root ninjas sneered at them. This is too weak. Such a guy would also say that he is a ninja? Snort. Even the ninjas who thought of the roots here also began to look down on the current Konoha village. Once upon a time, Konoha was so powerful, how could it be that now, the village has obviously become rich and powerful, but the strength of the ninjas has regressed so seriously. So strong. These people, even Senior Jonin, they are completely powerless. When did these people sneak into Konoha? So many people, Yuanren didn't notice anything beforehand. Are they wearing masks also Dark Ninja? After the establishment of the United Ninja Village, Anbu was transformed into Dark Ninja, and each village set up Dark Ninja departments. No. They shouldn't be. Although they are also wearing masks, the masks on these people's faces are obviously of an older style. It is already a product of the past era. The Dark Nin of the new era are all white's fox or cat face. Unlike root ninjas, everyone's mask style is different. This is the root. Suddenly among the crowd, Kakashi and White Fang arrived. They saw these ninjas in front of them. Kakashi is just a little familiar, but it hasn't had time to ring. White Fang on the side had already spoken. Root. He is too familiar. Root. A root ninja? Kakashi froze for a moment. Since the former Danzo rebellion was defeated, the root ninjas have been recruited. Incorporated into Anbu. Of course, the so-called integration is actually selecting some people to join Anbu, and all the ninjas under him have become Konoha's genin. Counting the time, most of the root ninjas should be dead. Why are there so many root ninjas appearing at this time, and each of them is so powerful? When Kakashi was wondering, White Fang said, perhaps these root ninjas, like me, have come directly from their time point to the present. Hearing this, Kakashi was startled. There are quite a few root ninjas in front of us, at least 20 or more. Can a ninja of this scale travel through together? Then come into this world together? General. What is that? Senior Kakashi, are these ninjas from the village? Being asked this question out of the blue, Kakashi glanced back at the brat who asked the question. In a sense, they are indeed the ninjas of the village. Suddenly, Danzo's voice came from the huge screen in the square. Since I let the old man come from the past to the present, then Konoha let the old man wake up. The former Konoha was originally the strongest ninja village, and there was no need to unite with the other 5 major countries. With Danzo's continuous speeches, the power of distinguished heavenly gods was activated, and those who listened to his impassioned speeches were basically brainwashed now. Not only moved by Danzo's passion, but also by the subtle influence of distinguished heavenly gods. A lot of people suddenly had the idea that if Danzo came to lead Konoha, then they would be better off. Hear. Their gazes at Danzo grew wild. At this time, Naruto came to the outside of the village in surprise, and looked at the people in front of him. The opponent grabbed Shoukui in his hands and threatened him. Even Naruto did not dare to act rashly. Although he was 80% sure that he could save Xiaokui. But there's still 20% left. What if you miss? He was at best a failure, and Xiaokui might be killed to death. Master Hokage, please don't act rashly. We know that you are very strong, but as soon as you make a move, all our attacks will be thrown at this little girl immediately. It doesn't matter if we die, but Master Hokage probably doesn't want anything to happen to this little girl. Naruto's expression was very ugly. What exactly are you trying to do? At this moment, Naruto did not notice the changes in the village. I also simply thought that these people might be ninjas from the past to the present. They should want to get something. Maybe money or something. Master Hokage will find out soon. It's almost time now. In Muya Square, one after another, the people began to raise their arms and shout. Master Danzo. Danzo is hot. We, Konoha, should dominate the entire ninja world, and all other villages should surrender to us. That's right. We Konoha should directly destroy other ninja villages and make Konoha the only ninja village in the ninja world. The commoners are getting crazier, and the ninjas aren't much better either. After all, this is the power of distinguished heavenly gods. Even ninjas are not so easy to block. Although it is only a simple hypnosis control, because of the special effect of distinguished heavenly gods, it can also permanently modify other people's thoughts to a certain extent. Of course, Danzo does not have this ability, but the effect of hypnosis brainwashing has been greatly enhanced. Danzo in the picture suddenly disappeared, and suddenly appeared again. Then Danzo felt the Sharingan on his arm and closed one. Push the distinguished heavenly gods all the way, because the whole Konoha village is brainwashed. Indeed, the consumption was much greater than he had imagined. So he had to use Izanagi to supplement his consumption. The civilians became fanatical, and the ninjas became fanatical. Danzo felt that the time was almost up. Come. Create a stronger Konoha with me. Under the leadership of me, Shimura Danzo, Konoha will become even more brilliant. Far more than now. As Danzo's final speech ended, many people in Konoha began to raise their arms and shouted Danzo's name. Danzo. 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 The shouts gathered together and echoed crazily above Konoha. Naruto outside the village heard the voice, Danzo? Why do Konoha have so many people calling Danzo's name? That guy. Why is it driving so many people crazy? What happened to Konoha? At this moment, the crowd commander Liang Na looked at the person in front of her. Who is this guy? He was able to drive so many people crazy in such a short period of time. Uchiha Sarada also had to admire the other party's speech. It is true that the blood of the people who said it was boiling. Shimura Danzo, the man who almost overturned Konoha. Suddenly Itachi appeared, and he protected Uchiha Sarada behind him. Look up at Danzo on the screen. This guy is the one who launched a coup and wanted to seize the Konoha regime. It's just that I was defeated by Lord 5th Hokage in the end. I heard Itachi introduce Danzo like this. Uchiha Sarada was a little surprised. This unattractive-looking old man even had an eye injury. He almost overturned Konoha? Really? This old man can do such a thing? Dai Dai and Jian Jin at the side were very puzzled. Itachi smiled. Don't underestimate this guy, he is a ninja from the same period as 3rd Hokage. Also one of Lord 2nd Hokage's disciples. Same as 3rd Hokage. 2nd Hokage's disciple is the same as 3rd Hokage, so isn't it said that he is a fellow disciple of 3rd Hokage? This guy who seems to have no fighting ability is actually a disciple of 2nd Hokage. What are you kidding? Why would 2nd Hokage accept such a physically disabled guy? Physical disability? If Itachi knew Daidi's thoughts, he would be very speechless. That guy Danzo is pretty nimble. Itachi glanced at Sasuke. Okay, now is not the time to talk about this, you guys choose to leave. Uchiha Sarada froze for a moment. Dad, what? Itachi smiled and was about to say something. Swish. An incomparably gorgeous knife light flashed in the air. Several ninjas at the route were directly rushed away, and at the same time, their bodies were torn apart with extremely eye-catching knife edges. The blood gushed incessantly. Okay, what a powerful move. While the little devils were still in a daze. Master Shot has come to the square. Followed by a large number of Konoha shinobi, ninjas not affected by Danzo and distinguished heavenly gods. They looked at White Fang who took the lead. Mr. White Fang is so strong. Those root ninjas are no match for him at all. How can such a small knife burst out with such power? Is this the ninja from the past? The strength is too strong. Listening to the evaluation of White Fang by the surrounding ninjas, Kakashi smiled. His father is a monster that is not weaker than Hokage. How could Danzo's roots stop him? White Fang, come just in time. Itachi smiled. At this time, the expressions of the root ninjas guarding the roofs around the square became a little gloomy. There is an unwritten rule in the ninja world when encountering Mu Yi Bai Ya. You can retreat without being punished for mission failure, and choose to give up the mission directly. It can be seen what kind of status Konoha's White Fang has in the ninja world. But now these root ninjas just chose to retreat after hesitating for a few seconds, and retreated in the direction of the Hokage building. Those guys got away? Sumair Khan pointed to the root ninja who left and said. Itachi nodded. That's right, they all escaped. After all, the person who came was Mu Yi Baya. Wooden Yi Bai teeth. They looked at White Fang. White Fang smiled at several people. I didn't expect my reputation to be useful in the future world. Sure enough, this man is very strong, although he couldn't see it in the previous battle with Master Sasuke and Master Hokage. But now that he faces this man in person, he will understand how powerful this guy is. Itachi smiled. Get up slowly and face Hokage Tinlu. White Fang. Help me take care of my daughter. Hearing this, White Fang glanced at Uchiha Itachi. Although not from the same period, Uchiha, with this name on his back, although the aura on Itachi's body was hidden deeply, it was equally powerful and White Fang couldn't ignore it. He didn't dare to look down on Itachi at all. Do you want to go alone? Danzo can. Don't worry, I'm good enough to deal with Danzo, I probably know his strength. Now that Itachi has said so, it doesn't look like a reckless person at first glance, he presumably has a certain understanding of Danzo. Then leave it to you. Itachi was about to leave. At this time, Uchiha Sarada suddenly said, Dad, let's wait for Hokage-sama. Isn't that guy a disciple of second Hokage? His strength should be terrifying. Itachi smiled. It's true that Danzo is not weak, but Sarana, your father and daughter not weak either. A smile. The next second, Itachi turned into a crow and dissipated. See this scene. The three of Uchiha Sarada, Akamichi Dai, and Jien Jin were all stunned. In their impressions, Uchiha Sarada's father was a gentle and elegant man who was engaged in clerical work. He usually takes care of his family and is willing to spend a lot of time with Uchiha Sarada. He is simply a perfect man. He is also very handsome, with the unique charm of an uncle's age man. Both of them are very envious of having such a father. But the only shortcoming is that although as a ninja, his strength does not seem to be very strong. But the move just now made the three little girls dumbfounded. Not to mention them, even the Konoha shinobi who followed behind were at a loss. Senior Jonin, who sent them missions in the past, actually has this ability. Just turn your head, turn into a group of crows and disappear? What kind of technique is this? Don't worry. Your father, I'm afraid he hasn't done anything for a long time, and wants to move around. Kakashi, who suddenly appeared on the side, spoke slowly. Zarana looked at Kakashi. Do you know my father's strength? Kakashi nodded. I probably understand. Dad, is he really strong? Are ferrets strong? Kakashi thought about this question. Other than Hokage, Konoha can be said to be able to beat Itachi. I'm afraid there will be no second ninja. I feel that I can beat Itachi 100% in one-on-one situations. I'm afraid there is even a very high possibility of being defeated by Itachi. In other words, Itachi can be said to be the second strongest ninja in Konoha besides Hokage. After Kakashi finished speaking, he turned to look at Itachi's daughter Sarana. Uchiha Sarada's mouth is now wider than an egg. The father who has always given her the feeling that humans and animals are harmless. It's so fierce. With such a big Konoha, only Hokage can say that he is sure to beat him. Is this still the skinny dad who usually doesn't seem to have any fighting power? Could it be that he lied to her? Thinking about it carefully, perhaps in the entire ninja world, there are probably no more than 3 people who can say that Itachi is sure to win. No more than 3 people? Uchiha Sarada was a little unsteady. It's not just a matter of my father being a little strong, it's simply too strong. I never knew it before, and Dad never said it. Itachi is Konoha's genius, he graduated from Konoha's ninja school at the age of 7. Zarana, what? 7 or 7? When I was 7 years old, I just entered the ninja school for 1 year, and my father graduated from the ninja school at that age. What kind of talent is this? Sarana, so your father is such a strong person. I didn't expect that such a powerful person would not show it at ordinary times. Dai and Jien Jin looked at Uchiha Sarada with very complicated emotions. I suddenly knew the father of my best friend, basically except for 1 or 2 people, he was invincible all over the world. It's like a poor boy who suddenly finds out that his best friend is the richest man in the world. The sense of gap in my heart is not ordinary big. In Uchiha Sarada, she was still shocked by her father, who turned out to be Konoha's strongest existence besides Hokage. The picture on the huge screen in the square changed again. It's on the roof of the Hokage building. There is a very wide platform here. Danzo is here to call more Konoha shinobi to join him. After all, the effect of distinguished heavenly gods just now was very good. As long as there are enough ninjas who choose to join him and choose to support him, then the position of Hokage in the new era is almost within reach. Using Naruto's family to threaten Naruto. Let this so-called strongest Hokage 6th generation hand over all the tail beasts in his body. Using this power, Danzo can directly dominate the entire ninja world and turn the 5 major countries into the Konoha family. Even destroy all the other 4 countries. But at this time in the screen, Danzo has not yet started to give the final hint. Let these ninjas have your back, when suddenly a dense swarm of black crows appears in the sky. Immediately after the screen, a crow and ferret appeared. Suddenly stood behind Danzo. Danzo froze for a second. Then suddenly he turned to look at Itachi. Uchiha. Itachi, you are still alive, and you are still in Konoha. Danzo was very surprised. Although he had been here for a few days, he already had a general understanding of Konoha's situation. But for Uchiha's question, he has not understood yet. After all, Konoha is so huge now, it is impossible to completely understand Konoha's entire village in a short time. Danzo was very surprised. You traitorous ninja, can you return to Konoha? People watching the giant screen, whether they are common people or Konoha ninjas, Ryo's jaws are about to drop now. Rebellion? Why does this guy say that? Is my father a rebellion? No. Was he ever a traitor? Hearing Zorana's question, Cassie smiled. No. Itachi has never been a traitor, but because of the order of Lord Third Hokage, Itachi had to lurk in a terrible organization. That's why I bear the name of traitorous ninja. Hearing this, Uchiha Sarada breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that her father was beaten as a traitor by Konoha just because of the mission, not because he had done anything outrageous. However, Kakashi didn't want to tell Sarada that your father basically killed all of your clan. Even your grandparents are like that. Itachi ignores Danzo in the picture. Master Danzo, give up. You will not succeed. In this world, the biggest enemy now is not the 5 major powers. It's the Otsutsuki clan, a terrifying clan from the stars. They have power far beyond human beings. If we don't unite and fight against the Otsutsuki clan, we will only know the civil war. The whole ninja world is. Itachi wants to persuade Danzo. After all, Danzo's strength is also very good, if he can be brought together. Then it is also a good help. At this time, Danzo sneered. If there is such an enemy as you said, then Konoha should be the only one in the ninja world. Unity. HMPH. There is no such thing as unity without strength. When you have no ability, everyone will become your enemy. Don't be delusional, Uchiha Itachi, since you are here, let me see if the current you can prevent old age. As he spoke, Danzo raised his hand, gesturing to the root ninjas around him to do it. But in the next second, Itachi suddenly raised his head and opened his eyes. The Sharingan of the 6 hook jades is opened directly. 6 Tomo slowly turned in Itachi's eyes. See this Sharingan like no other. Danzo was stunned. What kind of eyes are you? Sharingan. Isn't Master Danzo very clear? Why does Sharingan have 6 gouge? Mangekyo? Danzo didn't quite understand. But it seems that only Mangekyo Sharingan is suitable. And Itachi smiled. In the next second, all the root ninjas around seemed to be frozen. Standing completely in place without any movement. What's wrong with these people? Why don't they move? Look at how their eyes are all dull. When the new generation of ninjas have seen such a scene, they don't understand what happened. Kakashi smiled. This is the effect of illusion. If illusion is strong enough, then it can achieve a similar immobilization effect. And Itachi, Konoha's master of illusion, not only has a Sharingan that can release visual illusions naturally, but also has very powerful pupil power. My own talent for illusion is also amazing. Illusion. Can it still be like this? The new generation of ninja goblins looked at each other. In their cognition, illusion is basically useless. Even if it is used successfully, the lethality is not considered a hit. At the same time, there are various complicated seals. However, I didn't expect that in Itachi's hands, the illusion could still have such a level of power. One glance. Just stop all the ninjas. Illusion is so cool, I knew they would have worked hard to learn illusion. Heavenly beings can release the Sharingan of illusion, and the Sharingan can release the illusion bed? Zorana asked innocently. Kakashi nodded, yes. At the same time, the Sharingan illusion can also be strengthened to a certain extent. During the battle, it is best not to look into the eyes of the owner of the Sharingan, or you will accidentally fall into the illusion. If you are deceived by illusion, it's a pretty bad thing. Uchiha Sarada blinked her eyes, as if there were little stars in her eyes. She looked at Itachi adoringly. Speaking of which, the most terrifying person using illusion should be your uncle, Uchiha Sasuke. That guy's illusion, even people with weak willpower, may lose consciousness instantly and be defeated directly with just one glance. Sasuke? Uchiha Sarada was stunned for a moment. Even the illusion is also a grandmaster? And it sounds like it's more than Dad's illusion. My father and my uncle seem to be incredibly talented. Why come here? I feel as if my talent is not as good as 1% of theirs. Hasn't this talent been inherited? Fire style. Great fireball technique. Suddenly Itachi raised his hand to make a seal, and the ultra-fast speed of making a seal dazzled people who watched directly. At the same time, the printing will be completed in the next second. The huge volume of the fireball ejected instantly made countless Konoha shinobi feel incredible. Almost instantaneously, except for a fire demand bigger than the roof of the Hokage building. Is this something humans can do? Many ninja mouths Kakuzu began to twitch uncontrollably. It seems that when you go to collect tasks in the future, you should be polite when facing this person. Otherwise, this is the speed and power of ninjutsu. If they make a random move, they will probably be turned into fly ash. Facing the blow, Danzo directly dodged to avoid it. What a powerful fire style. I have never seen such a powerful great fireball technique. Uchiha Itachi, you are worthy of Uchiha's genius. Genius? Itachi smiled. That's because you haven't seen my brother, Sasuke. Compared to him, my great fireball technique is nothing. Uchiha Sasuke. Although Danzo has an impression of Sasuke, he doesn't think Sasuke's talent is better than Itachi's. But maybe so many years have passed. Uchiha Sasuke will grow up to be a scary ninja in the future. Snort. But it's not enough to win this old man with such strength. Izanagi. Suddenly Itachi smiled. Immediately, Danzo's face became a little gloomy. You know it. Of course, in fact, in the near future, you should die at the hands of my brother, Uchiha Sasuke. You were killed by Sasuke. Hearing this at this time, Inkashi was stunned for a moment. I see, at that time I said why Danzo died suddenly. So it was Sasuke who made the move, that time. When? Kakashi uncle, what are you talking about? Uncle? Kakashi stared blankly at Sarada beside him. I'm Sasuke's teacher, so Uchiha Sarada shouldn't be calling herself uncle. But forget it, it's better to be called uncle than grandpa, at least it can look younger. Thinking of this, Kakashi smiled instead. When Danzo launched the Konoha Rebellion, when 5th Hokage had just ascended the throne. At that time, Mu Yi was swayed by wind and rain. Danzo has become Konoha's biggest threat. Lead half of the Konoha shinobi to confront Konoha. Then his ninja army was defeated and Danzo himself died. This matter is over, but I still don't know who killed Danzo. I didn't expect it to be Sasuke. Hearing this, Uchiha Sarada froze for a moment. At 5th Hokage, it has been decades at least. At that time, my own Sasuke uncle should not have been born yet. This is from Insayat. Speaking of which, Sasuke at that time was about the same age as you are now, only 12 or 13 years old. What? Dai is not calm anymore. She looks 12 or 13 years old. Doesn't that mean she just graduated from Genin school not long ago? Can this situation kill the old man above? Although I haven't seen him make a move yet, the guy who was able to avoid that kind of ninjutsu attack by moving randomly just now is so vigorous. Thinking about it, the combat power will definitely not be weak. At the age of 12, he single-handedly killed a person of that level. Were people in their time monsters? Wait, Kakashi uncle. Sasuke uncle looks like 15 or 16 years old at most. He was 12 years old at that time. Doesn't it mean that he should be the same age as Lord Hokage now? That's right. They are the same age. Sasuke and Naruto were both my students. I am their guide, Jonin. Kakashi laughed. Show a faint smile. The three little girls Dai, Uchiha Sarada, and Jien Jin opened their mouths wide open. Stared at Kakashi dumbfounded. Master Hokage's teacher? Sasuke's teacher? It turned out to be the person in front of him. Are you kidding? It's impossible. Does that mean that Yuanren, the person who has been explaining to them, is also a boss? White Fang on the side looked at the mischievous Kakashi, and wanted to establish a prestige in front of the children, and the purpose of winning admiration was too obvious. However, White Fang was very relieved to hear Kakashi say that Naruto was his disciple. Although Kakashi did not become Hokage, Hokage is Kakashi's disciple, which is also something to be proud of. By the way, It is now called the most beautiful ninja in the ninja world, the medical ninja of Hana no Sakura. They are also my disciples, Sasuke, Naruto, little Sakura, they are the students of my 7th class. Even little Sakura-sama is your student. The three of them looked at Kakashi with obvious twinkles in their eyes. Needless to say, Sasuke and Naruto, little Sakura is the strongest ninja in medical ninjutsu in the entire ninja world. At the same time, it is also a very powerful existence among female ninja. Basically, she is longed for by many female ninjas, but unexpectedly she is also a student of Kakashi. Boom boom boom. It was too late to ask for some details, and even more astonishing movements came from the giant screen again. Beep. The roar continued, and Itachi showed a terrifying kunai throwing technique. In an instant, it seemed that hundreds of kunai were thrown out. While dodging around, Danzo used the kunai in his hand to block, but in a blink of an eye, Itachi left many scars on his body. And Danzo didn't have time to fight back. Itachi struck directly, and the fire of Amaterasu sprang up, burning Danzo. If it wasn't for Izanagi's role, Danzo would be dead by now. Looking at Danzo, who was burned into nothingness, in the blink of an eye, he was restored to an intact state again. All the ninjas froze for a moment. This guy is obviously dead. Why did he suddenly come back to life? However, Itachi smiled at this time and turned on Susanoo directly. Izanagi, it is indeed a very powerful technique. But it's not invincible. How many chances do you have left, Danzo? Hearing this, Danzo's face was gloomy, and he immediately untied the bandage on his arm. Showing a very disgusting arm. Seeing this arm, immediately, the new generation of ninjas froze in place. Those red ones above are Kakashi, Sharingan. Zarana froze for a moment. Is he also from the Uchiha clan? Why does he have so many Sharingans from my Uchiha clan? Regarding this matter, Kakashi is not easy to explain to Uchiha Sarada. It's about Konoha's darkest side, it's better not to let these little ghosts know. And this time, Kakashi suddenly felt a chakra that seemed familiar but extremely strange. The feeling of this chakra seems to be somewhat similar to Naruto, but different. Turning his head suddenly, he saw a very young and sunny man standing not far away. The clothes he was wearing were very strange. The style is very old. This guy was staring at the huge screen, thinking about something. And there was a hint of curiosity in his eyes. It's like you've never seen TV before. Just like people who come out of the mountains. Who is this guy? Why is he here? I didn't feel this person's aura at all before, but his aura just appeared suddenly. What the hell does this happen? Suddenly, the other party came towards Kakashi. At this moment, White Fang felt as if he was facing an enemy. The whole person was trembling uncontrollably, with cold sweat on his forehead. The instinct of the strong allows White Fang to clearly feel the terrible sense of crisis. Kakashi and White Fang stood in front of Uchiha Sarada and the others almost at the same time. Be wary of people a few meters away. The other party glanced at White Fang and Kakashi. The two are the strongest beings in this square, and they are fighting in the battle scene. It should be on a roof not far away. But what made him curious was why the other party had the eyes. And it's a bit different from my big brother. More importantly, the little girl behind the two of them also had such an aura. What is this place? It seems that it is no longer the original world. At the same time, in the Valley of the End, there are also two people with big eyes and small eyes. Are you from Uchiha too? Why have I never seen you? May I have your name? If someone with this voice is here, they will be able to easily know who the other party is. You can hear it just by listening to the sound. This voice is from Uchiha Madara. At this moment, Madara looked at the man in front of her. The clothes are quite old even for him, and what is even more amazing is the powerful chakra wave on this man. It seems to be more terrifying than myself. At the same time, what makes Madara feel unbelievable is that the pupil power possessed by the other party is so powerful. So much so that even if he seems to simply contend with his pupil power, he will be completely suppressed by the opponent. Hitomi power surpassed himself. Lu had never encountered such a Uchiha tribe. What's more, the person in front of him is definitely someone he has never seen before. Uchiha? The other party spoke, although his tone seemed relatively calm. But there seemed to be some doubts. Is your name Uchiha? The other party asked Madara back. At this moment, Madara is very puzzled. There are still people who don't know her name. My own Uchiha Madara is a well-known existence in the entire ninja world. Is there really someone who doesn't know themselves? It seems you haven't heard my name. Why should I hear your name? Are you famous? Asked this question, Madara burst out laughing, and he looked at the man in front of him. My name is Uchiha Madara, your eyes, you belong to my Uchiha clan too. Uchiha? The name, suddenly Indra frowned. Why do you say I'm from Uchiha? Your eyes, Sharingan is the blood successor limit of my Uchiha clan, and no one else has it. And at this moment, the two of them suddenly froze at the same time. Immediately afterwards, a terrifying breath came from the sky. No. Not just one. But 3 ways. 3 terrifying auras are rushing towards this side rapidly. But in the next second, one of the breaths seemed to have discovered them, and landed straight towards their position. The two looked up. Bang bang. Sasuke, who fell from the sky, directly hit the ground heavily. Assistant Smoke Commander opened his eyes, looking at the 2 people outside the smoke in surprise. Uchiha Madara and Otsutsuki Indra. These 2 people were also affected. Have they come from the past to the present? Sasuke gritted his teeth lightly. It seems that the scope of influence is very large. Not only these ninjas in modern times, but even Indra in ancient times were affected and came to this point in time. Then it means that maybe even Sage of 6 Paths may come from the past to the present. If that's the case, the relationship becomes more complicated and tricky. The original Sasuke wanted to go to Itonin village and ask Orochimaru to help with the plow problem. But now it's only halfway there, and there's such an astonishing discovery. Now Sasuke is a little helpless. It is obviously impossible to let these 2 guys go. If they are allowed to act recklessly, the world will be terrible. Just temporarily control the 2 of them. Thinking of this, Sasuke stepped forward and walked forward. In the next second, Kimimaro and Shigego also fell from the sky. Fall in the distance. Sasuke raised his hand to disperse the surrounding smoke. Madara and Indra stared at Sasuke, who suddenly fell from the sky. Sasuke looked up at the 2 of them. Uchiha Madara backquote. Otsutsuki Indra. As soon as Sasuke opened his mouth, he called out their names directly. Immediately, both of them were a little puzzled. What made Madara even more puzzled was, what did Sasuke call the person of the Uchiha clan next to him? Otsutsuki Indra? Isn't this guy from Uchiha? What is the Otsutsuki clan? It seems that I have never heard of this surname myself. Who are you? Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke directly told Indra his name. Hear the 3 words Uchiha. Madara froze for a moment. Are you from the Uchiha clan? That's right. Why have I never seen you? Madara recalled Sasuke's ability to fall from the sky just now. Apparently Sasuke has the ability to fly, and he is also a member of the Uchiha clan, who has the ability to fly, but he doesn't know it at all. How can this be? The reason why you don't know me is very simple. I am not from your generation. These words made the expressions of the 2 of them suddenly change. If he is not a clansman of his era, then it means that he is a clansman of another era. Looking at your appearance, you probably understand it. This era is not your era. For me, you are all ninjas from the past, and this world is the world of the future for you. Telling the 2 of them directly about the current situation, what Sasuke thought was that he could stop the civilians without doing anything. Looking at Madara's appearance, there are no first-generation cells in her body yet. It also means that Madara does not have Hashirama to fight in the Valley of the End. In this case, it means that there is still salvation. The same is true for Indra. Being alive obviously means that there is no decisive battle with Ashura. Then everything can be remedied. Backquote, future, world, times 2. The 2 spoke at the same time. They glanced at each other, although this statement surprised the 2 of them. But they didn't choose to believe it for the first time. You said this is the future world. What proof do you have? Prove? Sasuke smiled, raised his finger and pointed to the position behind the 2. The 2 looked in the direction of Sasuke's finger. Statues representing Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama stand there. Mr. Madara, doesn't this statue look familiar? Look familiar? It is indeed familiar. As that Hashirama? As this carved Hashirama? Instead of recognizing his own statue at first sight, he recognized Hashirama's statue instead. Sure enough, they are a pair of good friends who love and kill each other. Then look at another one. Another. Madara was puzzled. Who is this guy? Indra glanced at Madara at his side. This sculpture is probably him. Yes? Clam? Is this your own statue? Wait. Why is my statue facing Hashirama's, and it looks like they are going to duel? The name here, it's called the Valley of the End. Here, Mr. Uchiha Madara, you will have a decisive battle with Mr. Senju Hashirama in the future. And these 2 statues were built to commemorate you. Madara murmured, Valley of the End 7, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth inadvertently. Who wins in the end? Sasuke looked at Madara. Duel, you lost, but you actually won. What if you lost and actually won? What's the meaning? You can talk about the specific situation slowly. Two people, if you still want to know more, follow me. This is the future world, so I can't let you act freely. If you follow me, I can give you two answers. When Sasuke met the two, meanwhile, Konoha direction. The battle between Itachi and Danzo also began to enter the most intense link. With one hand, Susanoo easily resisted the continuous attacks from Danzo. Susanoo, who was intact, didn't respond to the bombardment of ninjutsu. Not even the slightest wobble. Many ninjas who saw such a scene were stunned. As if Itachi just stood there and called him, there wouldn't be any problems. Not only the ninjas were surprised, but even Danzo himself felt a little unbelievable. Uchiha Itachi, why his Susanoo defense is so amazing? Could it be that my own attack can't even break through the defense of this thing? Master Danzo, where are you driving? Suddenly the cry of a crow sounded. All of a sudden, everyone noticed at this moment. At some point, Itachi appeared behind Danzo, accompanied by crows all over the sky. Slowly condensed into the figure of Itachi, and Danzo also had cold sweat on his forehead at the moment. This is illusion. But even though he knew it was an illusion, Danzo still didn't understand when he was under the illusion. And I have Shisui's eyes. In such a situation, how could he still fall into the illusion? How can this be? Turning sword, wind style, vacuum sword. He slashed with a knife, but the weasel that turned into a crow and dissipated didn't do any harm at all. On the contrary, Danzo's eyes shrank suddenly in the next second. Then he lowered his head slowly, watching his abdomen being penetrated by kunai. Itachi was on top of him. Master Danzo, you were so careless. Have you not seen through this level of illusion? The moment he pulled out kunai, Danzo's body fell down. However, this is not the end. Almost instantly Danzo reappeared on the other side. Izanagi. Start again. Now Danzo has 8 Sharingans left. In other words, there are still 8 chances of resurrection. Itachi jumped up, completed the seal instantly in the air, and threw a Mie Shuriken at the same time. Fire style. Impatience claw red. The flame instantly covered the shuriken, and it shot towards Danzo's direction rapidly. As soon as Danzo appeared, he was forced to directly launch wood style to defend. While defending, the range of wood style also covers Itachi, so it can be regarded as a defensive counterattack. But this technique, even Danzo himself will devour it. So Danzo's Sharingan has 7 left. The moment wood style swept in, the corners of Itachi's mouth rose slightly, and his body disappeared in the next second. Instead of using Susanoo defense, Itachi directly used body flicker technique. Such an instant, the ninjas applauded again and again. It's so strong, it's worthy of Master Itachi, except for the power of Shueiji boundary. At the same time, your own ninjutsu should not be underestimated. Such a proficient body flicker technique, Itachi-sama, even if he doesn't have the blood succession limit, he is probably still a powerful ninja. I heard everyone around me cheering for my dad. Uchiha Sarada was very happy. But at the moment Kakashi and White Fang are still staring at the weirdly dressed guy. Didn't dare to be distracted at all. Sudden. There was a sharp breaking wind sound from the giant screen. I got you. Itachi. Wind style, vacuum daidama. An astonishing chakra burst out in an instant, and Danzo, who directly launched the apex wind style ninjutsu, took a gust of wind. Directly cut half of the Hokage building instantly. Although Itachi was hit, he turned into crows and disappeared again. Itachi, who is elusive, invisibly brings a sense of oppression to the enemy, which is directly in a full state. Danzo looked around. His face was extremely pale, and he couldn't find the location of Itachi. Is Itachi's illusion already so strong? I have Shisui's illusion eyes. Why can't I see through Itachi's illusion in illusion? If it were anyone from the Uchiha clan, match the eyes of Shangjang Mizu. It may not be difficult to see through Itachi's illusion, but Danzo is not of the Uchiha clan. His use of Shisui's eyes is way too low. At the same time, the Sharingan possessed by Itachi has already surpassed the positive zone. It is also normal to be unable to see through illusions. Swish. Itachi suddenly appeared, raised the knife and dropped it, and Lu Wu instantly slashed Danzo's throat. In an instant, Danzo's eyes flashed with horror. Such a fast speed, such a fast blow. As Uchiha's genius, Itachi's fighting style should have been biased towards ninjutsu and the use of blood succession limits. But I didn't expect Itachi to have such powerful strength in physical skills. Danzo fell again. Sharingan has 5 left. Next, Itachi doesn't plan to ink with Danzo. We have basically figured out Danzo's strength, so we can take a quick shot and take him down directly. Danzo, who just appeared, has not had time to perform any attacks. Amaterasu. In the next second, Black's flames burst forth, instantly burning Danzo to death. The opening of the Mangekyo Sharingan, a large windmill formed by 6-hook jade, set off the destruction of Amaterasu. The level of terror far exceeds the previous level. Black's flame. What kind of flame is this? It was the first time for the new generation of ninjas to see such black flames, and the black flames under the giant screen looked very terrifying. The fire of Amaterasu, which does not burn the target completely, is a flame that will never be extinguished, one of the terrifying pupil techniques of the Uchiha family. In the picture, the flames were set off 4 times in a row. And Danzo also went down 4 times. Closes with the last Sharingan issued Izanagi. Danzo has used up all his resurrection opportunities. These can't be revived anymore. Danzo, surrender or choose death. Itachi suddenly appeared and looked at Danzo, who was lying on the ground panting. The Konoha shinobi fighters still couldn't wake up from the amazing battle just now. In the face of monster enemies that can be resurrected continuously, they can still defeat them in this form of crushing. Uchiha Itachi, the first person under Hokage, worthy of the name. I didn't expect Konoha to hide such a terrifying monster besides Hokage. Even many Jonins don't know that Itachi is so strong. Today is an eye-opener. These are the ninjas who survived the last war, and their strength is not in the same dimension as them. Why? Your Sharingan, are 6 jades. Uchiha Itachi, has your Sharingan evolved? Unexpectedly, Danzo's problem at this time is actually this. Itachi smiled. I don't know about it, but the reason why the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan has changed is because of Sasuke. My Sharingan is only 6 gems, but Sasuke is already 8 gems. It seems that because of Sasuke, the Sharingan has broken through the original limit. The current Sharingan is no longer the Cursed Eye. It's the pupil technique that can continuously improve the pupil power. As long as you continue to practice and strengthen the pupil technique, you will be able to awaken Mangekyo. 8-hook jade? Danzo froze for a moment. The Sharingan with 8-hook jades is already so scary with only 6 Sharingans, so what is the situation with the 8 Sharingans? Uchiha Sasuke. It seems that the old man should have paid more attention to this kid. Uchiha Sasuke. It's just the last blood of Uchiha. Didn't I think that such a thing would be done in the future? Danzo sighed. At the same time, another question was in his mind. If there was a chance to return to the time he was in. Be sure to grab Uchiha Sasuke and study it. Such a brat with unlimited potential, he had to control it. Now, he can't just die like this. You must find a way to survive, and then find a way to return to the world where you are. Go. I surrender, Itachi, I will cooperate with you well. Danzo looked up at Itachi. If the other party really couldn't kill him, then there is a high probability that he would not ask him whether he wants to die or surrender. Correct. I come from the past, and in the past time, I should not be dead yet. If you die now, the history of the world will be changed. Thinking of this, Danzo smiled. Yes, I can't be killed now. Taking advantage of this, I can experience many things in this world. Looking at your appearance, I probably know what you're thinking. It is true that you are a person from the past. If you die now, after you are sent back to the past, history may change. So we have to keep you alive as much as possible and then find a way to send you back to the past. Itachi paused while talking, but if you are restless, we will kill you even at the risk of changing history. As he spoke, Itachi gave Danzo a cold look, as if he wanted to let Danzo understand his determination. Danzo froze for a moment. Itachi didn't look like he was joking. Once he really did something excessive, this guy would really kill him. Don't worry, I won't mess around anymore. After all, I can't even beat you, not to mention you have Master Hokage. Saying that, Danzo stood up slowly. Although he said so, Danzo has already determined in his heart that once he can go back, he must control Uchiha Sasuke immediately. Must have. Speaking of Sasuke, who is going to Atonin village at the moment, takes Uchiha Madara and Otsutsuki Indra with him, and keeps moving forward. At the same time, on the way, they probably explained the current era to the two of them. This era is called the New Era of Ninjas. Basically, peace has been achieved, and there is no war among the 5 major powers. The United Ninja Village has been established. The 5 major countries have also merged into one, and with Hokage's efforts over the years, the Genin village has been continuously absorbed. The United Ninja Village is only divided into 5 departments. Ninjas who practice different attributes of chakra will be assigned to a certain department. In this way, the concept of a village among ninjas can be greatly reduced. Hearing this, Madara was very surprised. Has peace been basically achieved? But can such peace really last? The villages merged, and the ninjas blurred the boundaries of the villages. All integrated into one. It sounds like a very relaxed look. But I am afraid that this matter will not be completed in a few hundred years. And in this process, once any changes occur, the so-called peace is empty talk. Thinking of this, Madara laughed. However, Sasuke looked back at him. Although there are still many uncertainties in this plan, it may even fail due to some accident in the middle. But it's better than Mr. Madara using infinite Tsukuyomi to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya and being tricked by Black Zetsu. For a sudden moment, Madara stopped and looked at Sasuke. What did you say? Sasuke said directly without mercy. The infinite Tsukuyomi you know is not a technique to save the world at all. The real ability of infinite Tsukuyomi is the chakra that collects all human beings in the world. Thereby well revived Otsutsuki Kagaya. Saying Otsutsuki Kagaya, Sasuke turned his head and glanced at Indra. You should know. Otsutsuki Kagaya. Hearing this, Indra frowned. Ah. The mother was sealed in the moon by the father himself. Sure enough. After all, Indra is the son of the Sage of Six Paths, and he was not too far away from the time when Kagaya was sealed. So even if Sage of Six Paths didn't say it, someone else would have told Indra in that era. Otsutsuki Kagaya? Madara looked at Indra. Just now Sasuke explained who Indra is. The son of Sage of Six Paths, then the father in his mouth is Sage of Six Paths, and the father's mother is Otsutsuki Kagaya. What you see is nothing but a stele left by the Sage of Six Paths tampered with by Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu is a creation of Otsutsuki Kagaya, whose sole purpose is to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya. Why? Black Zetsu is going to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya. Indra was a little curious. That's what I'm going to talk about next. Compared to infinite Tsukuyomi, who will inherit the ninja clan? The real crisis in this world comes from the Otsutsuki clan. Said Sasuke glanced at the two of them, revealed dignified color. Your grandma, Otsutsuki Kagaya, came to the ninja world to plant the sacred tree, then destroy the world, and bring back the chakra fruit of the sacred tree. And she chose to betray the Otsutsuki clan and eat the chakra fruit herself. So the problem we are facing now is that the Otsutsuki family will send people to this world to take back the fruit of the god tree, and at the same time deal with the traitor and the blood left behind by the traitor. Speaking of which, Madara had a look of disbelief. Where are these Otsutsuki people you speak of? They come from the stars. Starry sky? Madara looked up to the sky. Did it come from heaven? What you're saying is really wonderful, but it's ridiculous. You mean there are people living in the stars? Sasuke paused. To be precise, the Otsutsuki family is not human beings. Human beings are creatures of the ninja world, and the Otsutsuki family exists like descendants of gods. They shuttled through the universe, looking for planets suitable for planting the sacred tree. Once the sacred tree is planted, it means the destruction of a planet. Because only when the chakra of all creatures on this planet is absorbed, the sacred tree will bear fruit. Madara looked at the serious Sasuke. Even if what you said is true, can we resist the so-called Otsutsuki clan? Of course, I've killed several Otsutsuki after all. Hearing this, Madara was stunned for a moment, and then laughed. Boy, according to what you said, the Otsutsuki clan is very strong, although your aura is not weak. But that is the person that even the ancestor Otsutsuki Kagaya is afraid of. How many people have you killed? You are considered a genius if you have this strength at your age, but don't get too carried away. Sasuke sighed. Don't you believe it? Uchiha Madara, do you know why you are stronger than other Uchiha? Hearing this, Madara was stunned for a moment. What do you mean by that? Not because you opened the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, but because you smashed it. Sasuke pointed to Indra. Both of us are reincarnations of Indra Chakra, in other words, we actually have the most intense Otsutsuki power, in other words potential. So you are stronger than other Uchiha, and still a lot stronger. Reincarnation? What do you mean by that? Indra was puzzled. Sasuke smiled, because you lost the decisive battle with Ashura, he inherited the ninja sect, but you didn't, but it's not because you were weaker than him, but because he got the Sage of Six Paths district. So it's normal for you to lose. Lost. I lost. Indra seemed somewhat unwilling to accept this result. After all, he has been regarded as a genius since he was a child, and Ashura is just a younger brother with a dull talent. Why was he the one who lost in the end, not his younger brother Ashura? Sage of Six Paths, why did my father give all his strength to his younger brother? Why? Could it be that in the eyes of the father, the younger brother is more excellent than himself? So what is it that you have been doing all this time? So, my obsession makes my chakra reincarnate continuously, in order to defeat Ashura, right? It seems that without Sasuke's words, Indra has already understood what happened later. He glanced at Uchiha Madara. No wonder at the first glance, he felt something was wrong, as if he felt the same power as himself in Madara. At first I just thought it was because of Sharingan. But after knowing the concept of the past and the future, Indra immediately understood it, strictly speaking. These two people should be their descendants. But I didn't expect that they were not only their own descendants, but also not the reincarnation of their own chakra. So the person who fought against him in the Valley of the End before, what is that called? Hashirama? Senju Hashirama. Madara added. Indra nodded, yes, Senju Hashirama. That guy is also the reincarnation of Ashura's chakra. That's right. Sasuke nodded. Madara froze for a moment. No wonder Hashirama's experience was so the next day. It turns out that Hashirama is the reincarnation of Ashura's chakra, as the son of the Sage of Six Paths. Then Hashirama also defeated me because of the power of the Sage of Six Paths? Sasuke smiled. No. The reason why Hashirama beat you is because of his own talent, although he is the reincarnation of Ashura's chakra, but he is not Ashura. It's only with Ashura's chakra, and Hashirama is also a talented guy who discovered the power of wood style, so that he can cooperate with Ashura's chakra to become so powerful. Hearing this, Madara's expression turned ugly. In other words, is he truly inferior to Hashirama? How about you? Indra suddenly asked Sasuke. And hearing this question, Madara also looked at Sasuke curiously. One. Sasuke said lightly, as if he didn't care about the result at all. Indra smiled. And Madara seemed a little unconvinced. Why did you win? Could it be that Sage of Six Paths gave you power this time because of their conscience discovery? Speaking of this, even Indra was a little skeptical. Indeed, he felt a power emperor similar to Sage of Six Paths from Sasuke. No. It's still the same as before. Sage of Six Paths gave all the power to Naruto. Naruto? Sasuke. The name of Ashura in this life is Naruto. Since the Sage of Six Paths gave the power back to Ashura, why are you still able to win? Sasuke smiled. Because I got a new power, so what if I don't have the power of Sage of Six Paths? Who stipulated that the power of Sage of Six Paths must be used? Said Sasuke slowly opened his eyes. The Sharingan of the Eight-Hook Jades was opened, and the instant burst of pupil power stunned both Indra and Madara. Because at this moment they felt as if their bodies were frozen. This feeling is very weird. The power is simply terrifying. Why does Sasuke's Sharingan have so many gems? Is this your new power? Indra was very surprised. How did you do it? I don't know the specific reason. Even if I don't break through the limit of blood successor, I have mastered the same power of Six Paths as Sage of Six Paths. Actually, Naruto is no longer my opponent. Hearing this, Indra looked at Sasuke with a little admiration in his eyes. Break through the limit of blood inheritance. This sentence looks like nothing, but it's actually not that easy. The limit of the blood succession boundary, can you still break through? Madara asked. Sasuke asked back, who said it can't be done? Forehead. It seems that no one really said no. But who would think of such a thing under normal circumstances? Master Sasuke's talent is unprecedented, and I am afraid that only Master Sasuke can do this kind of thing. Kimimaro on the side spoke. And Madara was always thinking, who are these two guys? Blind eyes? Are they from the Hyuga clan? Hearing this, Sasuke smiled. No, none of them are members of the Hyuga clan, but because of the power of Otsutsuki's bloodline, they got supercilious eyes. Infused with the blood of the Otsutsuki clan? What does it mean? Indra looked at Junmalu and Chongo. They are very strong. I can feel very strong chakra fluctuations from them. The strength of these two guys should not be inferior to mine. Sasuke smiled. In terms of real combat power, it should be inferior to you, but in an unconventional state, it is indeed not inferior to you. Don't underestimate Indra. This is the one who can compete with the real Ashura, and the opponent is Ashura who has mastered the power of Sage of Six Paths. The concept is completely different. Ashura's strength is basically comparable to Sage of Six Paths. And Indra lost to such Ashura, whose real strength is already very scary. Although Kimimaro and Shigego combined Otsutsuki's blood succession limit, they did have the Six Paths level. But it's hard to say how much it can play out. So everything depends on the actual situation. Has that place arrived yet? Sasuke stopped suddenly. Yinin village has arrived, but has not yet entered Yinin village. Orochimaru had already come to the village entrance to meet Sasuke early. Welcome back, Sasuke. Orochimaru's current appearance has changed a lot from before, but the biggest change is that Orochimaru has become stronger. And just like what Orochimaru is pursuing, because of the development of technology, Orochimaru has made breakthroughs in biotechnology. Added the effect of Jonin technique. Let Orochimaru seem to have achieved the he imagined immortality. Even if this body dies, he can transfer to the next body at any time. Orochimaru looks like Sasuke from the Fourth Ninja War. You knew I was coming? Sasuke asked. Orochimaru nodded. I got the news the day after you appeared in Konoha. I thought you should come back to me sooner or later, and finally let me wait. Saying that, Orochimaru glanced at the few people beside Sasuke. Although Shigego and Kimimaro have changed in appearance, Orochimaru still recognizes them at a glance. But Indra and Madara is okay. Indra's surprised Orochimaru. Who is this person whose aura is so similar to Sasuke? He is Indra. Indra? Son of the Sage of Six Paths? Could it be that even the son of the Sage of Six Paths has been summoned to this hour? Orochimaru looked at Indra, staring at him all the time, very surprised and shocked. Made Indra a little impatient. And at this time Sasuke also said, okay, don't look at it, let's take a look at this thing first. Saying that, Sasuke directly took out the plow, the artifact of the Otsutsuki clan. The reason why he came to Orochimaru was not only because Orochimaru was a very talented scientist in Sasuke's eyes, but also a ninja of Apex. Combining the two, perhaps Orochimaru was able to figure out what was wrong with the plow. Seeing the plow frozen by ice crystals, Yin Shiwan was taken aback for a moment. But immediately something felt wrong. This thing doesn't look like ice crystals, and it doesn't look like ice crystals were formed by freezing. With Orochimaru's eyesight, it is easy to see that this thing is different. He snatched the Vice Admiral stuff directly from Sasuke's hand, and then looked at it carefully. Indra, who saw this thing, also frowned. What is this? The thing covered on it doesn't seem to be pure ice crystals. That's right, Saping exudes a very unique chakra wave. Madara also spoke. Glancing at the two of them, your senses are very keen. This thing is indeed not a common thing, it is. Sasuke paused suddenly. For a moment he didn't know whether he should tell these two guys the real purpose of this thing. If these two find out, in case they have any new ideas, what should they do? But after thinking about it, if they don't say the same thing, the two will be taken care of, and it will be even more difficult for them to investigate secretly by themselves. You can also see the reaction of the two of you by saying it directly. This thing is called the plow. It is an artifact of the Otsutsuki family, with the ability to travel through time. I'm actually from the past, but unlike you, I'm originally from this era, but from the end of the last ninja war to the present time point. Just through this thing. After speaking, Sasuke carefully observed the expressions of the two. And when listening to the moment, the change of response is the most intense. Shuttle time? Having this thing means being able to travel back and forth freely in the long river of time. If so, that would be great. Madara's eyes light up. If you want to get this thing, kill me now. Suddenly, Sasuke said such a sentence abruptly, which made Madara's face change slightly. Then he smiled. There is no opening. On the other side, Indra seemed much calmer, but Sasuke had completely captured the fluctuation hidden in his eyes. Sure enough, neither of these two is a fuel-efficient lamp. It seems that there must be no mistakes in the care of the plow. It turns out it's time. No wonder, the chakra fluctuation contained in it is so special. Unlike the two of them, they had a sinister look in their eyes. However, in Orochimaru's eyes, it was greed, madness, the madness of a scientist when he saw such a thing. Orochimaru, is there a way to get this thing? Hearing this, Orochimaru shook his head. No way. At least not now, but I can try. You wait for my news. After speaking, Orochimaru took the plow and ran away without turning back. And Madara saw that Orochimaru seemed to be absconding with money, and asked Sasuke lightly, aren't you afraid that this guy will take this thing and run away? That thing is immobile without the power of the Otsutsuki clan. It doesn't matter if he takes it away, it's useless at all. Said Sasuke looked back at the two of them. It's the same with you. Although you have inherited the power of Otsutsuki, your Otsutsuki bloodline is not strong, so you can't use it at all. Hearing this, Indra was a little curious. You can use this thing, which means you have inherited a very strong Otsutsuki blood. No. I didn't inherit it, but fused it myself. Said Sasuke smiled and shook his head. You don't need to know the specific details. Anyway, you can't use it even if you get it. Warn. This is Sasuke's warning to the two. Both Madara and Indra recognized Sasuke's overtones. The two did not immediately respond to Sasuke's warning. After all, They are not afraid of Sasuke alone, but Sasuke's two subordinates, Kimimaro and Shigego, are quite intimidating. Add Sasuke, 3 against 2, and Madara and Indra have not had any communication. I don't know what the other party is thinking, so I dare not act rashly. Okay. Come with me to another place. Sasuke didn't explain where he was going next, but just walked ahead. And Chongo and Kimimaro have been following behind. The two had no choice but to follow Sasuke silently. The next place to go is naturally Konoha village. Watching these two guys is too tiring. Sasuke doesn't want to continue to work so hard. Bring these two guys back to Konoha, give them to Naruto, and let him see that it's done. Whether to seal them directly or what, it is up to Naruto to figure out a way, who made him the Hokage of Konoha. And this time Konoha village. Naruto looked at Danzo who was making a fuss. Take him down. Take good care of him and don't allow anyone to come into contact with him. Yes. Lord Hokage. A Jonin named Konoha took it down, and Shikamaru looked at Naruto with a tired face. These guys from the past, each one is not worry-free. Naruto, we must find a way to send these people back as soon as possible. It's not a wise decision to keep them at this point in time. Of course Naruto also knows this, but the problem is that there seems to be something wrong with Sasuke. If there is no way to fix that thing, there is no way to send these people back. By the way, Naruto, there's another guy who also seems to be from the past, but he doesn't look like as a bad guy. They say they want to meet the so-called Hokage. The so-called Hokage? Naruto froze for a moment. Didn't this guy have Hokage in his era? Not even Hokage knows. Let him in. At the same time, outside Konoha village, another person looked at the majestic Konoha village, and at the same time looked at the familiar Hokage rock, which has already had several stone statues. 1 2 3 4 5 6, is it the 6th Hokage already? It's good that Konoha can continue to the 6th generation. It seems that the children of the next generation are still working hard. Wait. Why does 5th Hokage look familiar? How does this look like little Tsunade? And this guy is looking around here. Nature has caught the attention of Konoha shinobi enthusiasts. A dark ninja team appeared directly in front of the opponent. Who are you? It's here. When the captain of the dark ninja team was asking, he suddenly saw the other party's face. Immediately afterwards, he froze in place. This face. This is. The captain of the team stared blankly at each other. This face is too familiar. They are seen almost every day. Isn't this the face of first Hokage on Hokage Rock? This guy actually looks exactly like first Hokage. Inside Hokage's office, Naruto looked at the man in front of him. It does look like what Shikamaru said, not a bad guy. But this guy felt a little weird to him. It's like the feeling of déjà vu. May I have your name? Naruto asked tentatively, and the other party looked at Naruto. Then replied, Ashura. Ah, Ashura. Naruto stood up abruptly, looked at the person in front of him, Ashura. The name. But the sage of 6 paths said it. Isn't his second son called Ashura? Naruto stared at the other side firmly. The next second Naruto suddenly raised his hand and a Rasengan burst out. And Ashura immediately displayed his own trick, Gale Wind. Although the two techniques look somewhat similar. But actually it's different. Rasengan is a move of pure chakra with no attributes. And Haifeng Wan, since the name is called Haifeng Wan, is the nature transformation of the wind attribute chakra. The two looked at the art in each other's hands. Are you really Ashura? The other party nodded. Ashura looked at Naruto. I don't know why. I always feel like there is something on you, just like me. Naruto smiled. Of course, because I am the reincarnation of your chakra. Hearing this, Ashura was a little puzzled. What does this mean? Own chakra's reincarnation? You probably have discovered it. This is not your original world? Ashura nodded. But it's not any other world, it's just that this is the future world, and I keep chakra reincarnated because of some of your reasons. I am one of your chakra reincarnations. If this is the explanation, then Ashura probably understands. No wonder there was a familiar feeling about Naruto. At this time, the two were about to continue talking, when they suddenly felt another wave of chakra that was also familiar to them. This chakra fluctuation, needless to say, is naturally derived from first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Senju Hashirama at this moment, because he explained to the Dark Ninja team many times, he is Senju Hashirama. The ninja team didn't believe it and wanted to bring Senju Tobirama to Hokage to see for himself. However, although Senju Hashirama has a good temper, he is not someone who wants to grab it. Take a little shot and use wood style to trap all these dark ninjas. It was thought that after showing wood style, these people would believe his identity. However, what ushered in was an even more terrifying attack. Since Konoha is in a special period now, Anin has also increased the intensity of Luo. When first Hokage made a move, they immediately supported them. And directly joined the battle, and did not intend to ask the reason at all. After all, the current Konoha can no longer withstand any Poland, so the Anhas want to take Hashirama down as soon as possible. Hashirama was forced to fight back, but this attracted more ninjas to join forces to attack. This made Hashirama very helpless. There is no way but to trap these people without injuring them. And this time Naruto and Ashura felt the fluctuation, hastily swept out of the Hokage building and rushed towards the direction of Hashirama. Hashirama stopped slowly when the two appeared. He looked up at the two of them above. U.R. Naruto is okay. Hashirama looked at Naruto's outline, and felt that it should be 6th Hokage on Hokage Rock. But why does it seem that I look younger than the statue? Is it an illusion? And another person, Ashura, made Hashirama feel like he was facing an enemy. Instinctively, he immediately concentrated on it. He looked at Ashura, and Ashura looked at him. Is this person also the reincarnation of my chakra? Naruto nodded. That's right, he is my Konoha's first Hokage. Now Naruto's heart is even more helpless. Not only Ashura himself, but also first Hokage seems to have entered this world. Things are getting trickier. With Naruto coming forward, Hashirama finally no longer needs to be regarded as a ninja who invaded Konoha. However, the appearance of first Hokage in Konoha made the whole village lively again. Although Naruto is trying to hide all kinds of things these days, but now the paper can't contain the fire. The common folks in Konoha also basically know about it. Ninjas from the past appear one after another. What happened to the whole world? First it was Konoha's White Fang, and then that Danzo. Fortunately, Mr. Itachi solved it, otherwise Konoha might be in a mess now. It shouldn't happen now. The first Hokage has also appeared. Even if there is any trouble, the first Hokage and the 6th Hokage, our village is equivalent to having 2 Hokages. Do you think that at that time, all the Hokages of the past will appear? Have all the Hokages of the past appeared? If that's the case, it would be fun. Konoha and 6th Hokage all appeared, that would be quite interesting. Common people seem to be very excited and interesting about this kind of thing. But at the moment, Kakashi and Dingzuo, who are responsible for the safety of Mu Yi on the street, and other older generation ninjas have sad faces. If it is true that all Hokages appear, it may not be as safe as common people think. Rather, it is perilous. In that case, it means that the people who come will not be just the Hokage of the past. Konoha's historical Hokage returns, but what about the other villages? It will definitely be similar in comparison, and by then, the ninja world will be in chaos. And what Kakashi feared was happening. Sanagakure, 3rd Kazekage looking at Sanagakure today, although his appearance has changed a lot, it seems that he is better than before. But in fact Sanagakure's influence has been further weakened. This is a side effect of the establishment of the United Ninja Village. With the establishment of the United Ninja Village, only Konoha has strengthened its influence, and the other 4 villages have been imperceptibly affected, and their influence has been weakened. This also led to the fact that although Sanagakure is also developing, it is actually equivalent to parting out a part of the blood to supply Konoha. Let Konoha develop more rapidly, and they are just because they don't have to worry about wars, so their military strength is greatly weakened, and this part of the funds is used to develop the village. 3rd Kazekage is known as the strongest Kazekage. Now look at 5th Kazekage Gaara, who has returned to Sanagakure with one-tail Shuzuru, and the 4th generation seal Luo Sha. 3rd Kazekage went straight to the servant. The action is not really intended to kill the two, but to test the strength of the two. Unexpectedly, however, Gaara's strength was equal to his. Not weaker than his strongest Feng Ying. San Shinobi shouldn't be like this, 5th generation. This is the first sentence of 3rd generation after the battle. Gaara's gaze changed a few times before finally opening his mouth and saying, peace is hard to come by. But it shouldn't be built at the expense of San Shinobi either. Perhaps indeed, as 3rd Kazekage said, even peace should not be based on the sacrifice of San Shinobi. But this is impossible. After peace, who wants to stay in such a harsh environment as San Shinobi? They all naturally want to go to a place with a better living environment. And Konoha naturally became the first choice. Among the 5 major ninja villages, except for Konoha, the other villages are more or less remote or not comfortable enough. Only Konoha occupies an absolute geographical position. Naturally, more people can be attracted to Konoha, and people are often the key to development. After the population increases, the development will naturally be rapid. And of course the right leadership is needed. And the Konoha leadership group with Naruto as the core is obviously not an idiot and knows what to do. 5th generation. Now is your time. Do you still continue the policy of peace? Hearing 3rd Kage's question again, Gaara fell silent this time. At the same time, Kirigakure, 4th Mizukage, 3rd Mizukage, appeared one after another. The rebellion of the 7 ninja swordsmen was resolved before Shiro, the 6th Mizukage, rushed back to Kirigakure. But the problem also came, whether it is 3rd generation or 4th Mizukage. They all expressed strong dissatisfaction with 6th Mizukage's policies. The policy of peace benefits Konoha the most, and other villages can only be assimilated slowly. Ultimately it's just a matter of time. In terms of Iwagakure, the black soil is the 4th Tsuchikage, the 3rd Tsuchikage is still built, and the 2nd Tsuchikage has not yet appeared. But the problem is that the appearance of the former Jinchuriki, Lao Zi and Han are also very dissatisfied with the current Iwagakure. Cloud Shinobi Village, 3rd Raikage returns. It exploded directly, thinking that 5th Raikage is simply leading Cloud Shinobi Village to its demise. The old 4th Raikage is already terminally ill, lying on the hospital bed waiting to die. There is no way to see his father reappear. All the villages are basically staged, and the ancestors of the film have appeared one after another. Very dissatisfied with the current peace policy. These shadows who came out of the war, they don't agree with the so-called peace at all. There is nothing wrong with a policy that is not actually peaceful. If they were Konoha's position instead, they would of course be happy to accept such an approach. But it's a pity that their village is not Konoha, and the essential reason is that they want to center on their own village and establish their own village's political power. The second is, even if there is peace, can fighting be avoided? These moviegoers who have experienced the war have seen the essence of the matter. War is just an appearance, in fact it is a problem between people. Unless there is only one last person left in this world. As long as there are two people, there is no way to achieve absolute fairness and absolute peace. It's just that one person is giving way to another person, so there is no such thing as peace. Wherever there are people, there are fights. While Naruto, first Hokage Senju Hashirama, and Ashura were explaining the current situation. And got the support of the two, saying that they would help him and send all the people who do not belong to this era back to the original time. Naruto was very happy. But what he didn't know was that the ninja world had begun to undergo major changes at this moment. At this moment Sasuke also returned to Konoha with Indra and Madara. Returned to Konoha village. Madara looked at the village that had changed so dramatically before her eyes. Is this the Konoha village of this era? Hearing this, Sasuke nodded, ah. Indra on the side is very curious, especially Lei Jun who is speeding. This thing was completely unthinkable in his era. Car. It was able to be built like this, and it can still drive so fast. It's just unbelievable. The prosperity of Konoha surprised Indra. And now, in Konoha Park, Zarana is being surrounded by Boruto. It's so cool, Uchiha Sarada, your father. He's so strong that you decided to worship him as your teacher. Huh. Zarana looked at Boruto who was sick again. Mitsuki smiled on the side, Itachi-sama, it is indeed very strong. I told you Boruto a long time ago, but at that time, you didn't believe it. Hearing this, Boruto scratched his head in embarrassment. I can't help it. Mr. Itachi doesn't usually show his mountains and dews. No one would have thought that an uncle who issued a mission would be so powerful. It turned out to be the first person under Hokage, and Mr. Itachi's tricks are so cool. He is so handsome beyond imagination, I must worship him as my teacher. Uchiha Sarada has some headaches, her father seems to be too much in the limelight now. Wherever he goes, he always hears about his father. This made Uchiha Sarada feel uncomfortable. I think it's better to choose Uchiha Sarada's uncle if you want to become a teacher. Uchiha Sasuke, an all-round ninja, Grandmaster 5-sense ninjutsu, fighting power is not weaker than Hokage. Hearing this, Boruto was stunned for a moment. Yes. But Mr. Sasuke seems to be young. This is wrong. Boruto, according to my information, Mr. Sasuke is a ninja of the same age as your father, Mr. Naruto, but now he looks younger due to special reasons. Then you can really think about it. While Boruto was thinking, suddenly the sky darkened suddenly. The wind at this moment also became much colder. Konoha village at the moment. Sasuke looked at the two people who suddenly appeared in front of him. Sure enough, he sighed. Madara and Indra both showed up, and sure enough, these two people have also arrived. The two who suddenly appeared were not others. Naturally it is Hashirama and Ashura who sense their chakra. Naruto followed suit. Sasuke, you're back. Naruto didn't seem to notice that something was wrong with the atmosphere. And the ninjas at the gate of the village looked at the two sides that seemed to be confronting each other. This scene looks a little weird. Aren't Uchiha Sasuke and Hokage-sama companions? Why do people on both sides seem to be at war with each other now? Big brother. Ashura spoke first, wanting to say something. However, Indra thought of what Sasuke said, and he lost in the duel with his brother. And he couldn't accept the result, pickled. How could I give Indra the technique? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Ashura, come out with me. Saying that, Indra turned around and walked out of the village, but Ashura was stunned for a moment and seemed to understand what Indra meant. With a helpless sigh, he followed. At this moment Madara also stared at Hashirama firmly. Lama. I didn't expect that we would meet again in the future. It seems that this may be destined. Hashirama now looks at Madara's appearance and feels that something is wrong. Madara. Now is not the time for you to vent your personal emotions. Now we should have a more important mission. Hearing this, Madara waved her hand abruptly. I don't care, your nonsense reasoning. Now I just want to know, what can you pick to beat me? Come on. Stop talking nonsense. If you don't come out, you can do it here too, I don't care. Madara's threat made Hashirama very helpless. If the desperate Madara does something here, then the entire Konoha village will be in trouble. Hashirama sighed. Let's go. Naruto opened his mouth to stop it, but Hashirama said directly, leave it to me. If you don't convince this guy, I'm afraid he won't help, and he'll become a nuisance. It is true how troublesome Madara is, and Naruto has also been taught. If it wasn't for Sasuke, I'm afraid the original Madara would have successfully realized his plan. Outside Konoha village, about a kilometer away, in this forest, Madara came to the other side of the river and waited quietly. And Hashirama arrived later. Naruto, Sasuke, and a large number of Konoha shinobi followers came one after another. First Hokage and Uchiha Madara, the two ninjas in Legendary, the battle between them, we can actually witness it with our own eyes? The new generation of Konoha shinobi fans can hardly believe that such a thing exists in history. It was able to let them see it for real. First Hokage, quelling the troubled times, has a unique wood-style blood succession limit. Known as the god of ninjas, compared to first Hokage-sama, Uchiha Madara should be a little worse. Difference. Madara's strength is not bad. In the original book, Senju Hashirama can win, but this time it may not be so. Sasuke doesn't think that the same thing can be performed exactly the same again. Fire style, the mighty fire is extinguished. As soon as he came up, he did it directly, and Zhang didn't mean to talk nonsense with Hashirama. Experts will know if there is one as soon as they make a move. Just one hand of fire style directly silenced all Konoha shinobi fans. Because this is no longer pure fire style ninjutsu. Whether it is the speed of making seals or the ninjutsu released by Madara, it is surprising. The flame that swept across and instantly evaporated most of the river was really scary. But after the astonishing flame erupted, it directly turned into a long river of flames, sweeping madly in the direction of the Konoha shinobi followers. Seeing this scene, many ninjas were scared out of their wits. And Hashirama, who was standing in front of them, clapped his hands directly. Wood style, the tree world is coming. The ferocious wood style vines grew directly, and turned into a wall of vines at an extremely perverted speed, forcibly blocking the impact of the flames. This made all Konoha shinobi fans stunned. Ninjutsu, can it still be like this? What kind of ninjutsu is this? Their previous ninjutsu had never had a collision of this scale. This is not a level at all. When the flames were extinguished and the ninjas hadn't recovered yet. Out of the thick smoke, Madara's figure shot out directly. Madara rushed out and directly approached Hashirama, but Hashirama started a close combat. The movement of the two people coming and going, colliding with each other, made the ninjas who specialize in physical arts dumbfounded. Ninjas used to fight like this. It's completely different from modern ninja fighting. If you can understand the battle between Naruto Sasuke and Otsutsuki before, it's just like the gods. Although Konoha's ninjas were shocked and surprised, but because they were too far away, it was already another dimension in another dimension. It's completely beyond their comprehension. So instead I was just surprised, but didn't feel anything. The battle between Hashirama and Madara, however, illustrates what true ninja limits look like. Watching the gorgeous gymnastics battle. Half of the river was vaporized by the flames, and because of the collision of the two's physical skills, it almost stopped flowing. Looking at the large and small potholes that appeared in almost a moment. A battle worthy of the ninja Uchiha Madara in First Hokage and Legendary. The fight continues. Naruto is a little worried. If the two continue to fight like this, This area will cause a situation that cannot be recovered for more than 10 years. Serious damage to the ecological environment here. However, Sato Naruto's worried. Don't worry, I'll take care of it after the two of you have vented. Naruto froze for a moment. Could Sasuke restore this place to its original state? Are you kidding me? It's already destroyed like this, even Sasuke probably. At this moment, the new 7th squad who sneaked out from Konoha, the master also came to the other side quietly. Looking at the two people in the fierce battle in front of them. Listen to the horrible movement. Mizuki sighed, it's such a fierce battle, it's worthy of the battle between the god of ninja and the ninjas in Legendary. Uchiha Madara. To be able to fight first Hokage to such an extent. Boruto turned his head and glanced at Sarana. Are you people of the Uchiha clan all monsters? Think carefully. Whether it's Uchiha Sarada's father, Itachi or Uncle Uchiha Sasuke, and this Uchiha Madara in front of you now. All are monster-level existences. Are there no weak people in Uchiha? All of them are ridiculously strong. A pair of Sharingan, while having great strength, is also simply handsome. Boruto now wished he could swap identities with Uchiha Sarada. Make yourself a member of the Uchiha clan. Becoming a member of the Uchiha clan will allow you to have a handsome Sharingan and at the same time possess great strength. Llama. If it's just like this, you can't beat me. Susanoo. Instantly open Madara in Susanoo's state. Blue's full body of Susanoo unfolds in an instant, and the terrifying body of Susanoo that rises from the ground makes all ninjas' hearts beat faster. Only by watching at a close distance can we really understand how terrifying Susanoo is. This sense of oppression cannot be felt from the screen. Hashirama has no choice but to do this. No way, Sage Mode is on. Hands together. Wood style. Wooden golem jutsu. The huge wooden golem that appeared in an instant maintained the same height as Susanoo. Same technique as Daddy. Boruto was stunned for a moment. Could this be the limit of my Uzumaki clan's blood inheritance? No. Mizuki directly denied this statement. Wood style, the blood succession limit created by first Hokage, does not actually belong to the Uzumaki clan. And Mr. Naruto has the wood style blood succession limit, largely because of Uchiha Sasuke. I don't know the specific reason. There is only so much information I can know. Susanoo and Wooden Golem engage in brawl mode. The deafening crashing sound made people feel the pain in the eardrum. Madara controlled Susanoo and began to prepare to release her big move. Yusaka Guyu. At the moment Sasuke didn't really care. Suddenly a new task popped up in front of him. Battle that shouldn't happen, the battle to stop Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. Reward. 10 Tails Chakra Growth. Seeing the task that popped up in the system, Sasuke suddenly smiled, and finally came to the task again. I thought the system would not give any tasks for the time being. Good. Well done Madara. If this guy didn't want to teach Hashirama, he wouldn't let the system trigger the task. Not good. Sasuke, if you let them go on like this, not only will this place be destroyed, but it's too close to Konoha, and even Konoha may be hit by waves. While Naruto was talking, Sasuke had already made a move. Because the current Madara does not have 9 tails is a source of strength. He can only rely on his own Susanoo. Although there is no 9 tails, the power of Susanoo's Yusaka Guyu is equally astonishing. Although Hashirama was able to block it and use the wooden golem to bounce the attack away, once an attack of this level landed nearby, then the destructive power caused is quite terrifying. A large forest may melt in an instant. Llama, disappear for me. Swish. The Yusaka Gudama gathered in the hand in an instant exudes an astonishing blue light, sweeping quickly in the direction of Hashirama. The sound of breaking wind suddenly sounded. Hashirama also controls the wooden golem, instinctively parrying. With one palm, Yusaka Guyu was indeed easily sent flying. And the direction to fly is not Naruto's side. Boruto, Mitsuki, and Sarana quietly ran out of the village to watch the battle. The eyes of the person who called at this moment suddenly flickered slightly. Boruto. This idiot. Why did you run out of the village? Didn't it already make other ninjas absolutely unable to leave the village no matter what? Why is this kid always so disobedient? Naruto said in his heart, but he didn't think that he seemed no better than Boruto back then. At this moment, Sasuke, who was about to deal with Hashirama and Madara, felt the chakra fluctuations of the three, and sighed helplessly. Not good. That attack is coming our way. As Boruto said, Mizuki rushed out immediately and activated Sage Transformation in an instant, trying to block the attack for the two companions. But he didn't seem to think about the ninja from Legendary. Uchiha Madara's attack cannot be easily blocked by him. The moment the light shone, Yusaka Guyu was almost within walking distance of them. Look at the bright light in front of you. The dazzling blue light instantly enveloped the three of them. Even Boruto panicked at this moment. Is this going to die? Unexpectedly, they died not in the hands of the enemy, but in the aftermath of the battle between the two apex ninjas. Unstoppable. Uchiha Sarada looked at Miyue in front of her, although she was surprised by Miyu's sudden burst of power. But Uchiha Sarada, who owns Sharingan, can tell it at a glance. The strength of Yusaka Guyu and Miyue is not at the same level at all. Even if all the chakra burst out of Miyue, they will definitely not be able to stop this terrifying blow. The three of them seem to be safe today. He closed his eyes helplessly. Mizuki gritted his teeth hard. Is this feeling the feeling before death? Mizuki sighed. Although he knew he couldn't stop it, he still wanted to do his best to minimize the damage, so that Boruto and Uchiha Sarada still had a chance to survive. Opening his hands, Chakra formed a chakra snake, biting towards Yusaka Guyu. And this moment, a voice sounded. Courage is commendable, but it is too early for you to take this blow. Hearing this voice suddenly, the three of them opened their eyes almost at the same time. And what appeared in front of them was a black figure, and the other party looked at them with their backs turned to Yusaka Guyu, who was about to attack. Dare to make such an action at this time. All three of them were stunned. Who is this guy? The light was so strong that it was impossible to see the opponent's appearance clearly. And in the next second, Boban Guyu struck. The other party glanced at Miyue appreciatively, then reincarnated and raised his right hand. Lightly point the index finger at Yusaka Guyu, who is sweeping towards him. God Spirit, activate, in a flash, in the surprised eyes of the three. The image of Yusaka Guyu, which contained terrifying power, suddenly turned into countless fluorescent lights and dissipated in the air. With such an easy finger, can it defuse Boban Guyu's attack? At this moment, even Madara and Hashirama, who were still fighting, were frightened by Sasuke's actions. So much so that the two even stopped at the same time. Turn around and look this way. The light dissipated. Sasuke's face finally emerged from the glare. Several people looked at Sasuke's profile, thinking back to Sasuke's actions just now. Each mouth is wide enough to swallow an egg, stared at Sasuke dumbfounded. Mitsuki also felt incredible about Sasuke's power, it's so strong. Is this the power of Uchiha? Facing that kind of terrifying attack, how could it be destroyed instantly with just one finger? You are Lord Orochimaru's son. My name is Miyue, right? Are you interested in being my disciple? Exactly, Mr. Orochimaru is also my teacher. Sasuke spoke to Mizuki slowly, and at this moment, Boruto shattered directly. The person I wanted to learn as a teacher actually fell in love with Miyue? Instead of looking at yourself. I was completely shocked by myself just now, but Sunyue was able to stand up for the first time, and Miyue was indeed more excellent than myself. Miyue froze for a moment. Disciple of Orochimaru? Uchiha Sasuke-sama is Orochimaru's disciple? Think about it first. I'm going to stop the battle between those two guys. Said Sasuke disappeared instantly. Black's robe disappeared from the eyes of several people. The next second appeared directly between Madara and Hashirama. At this moment, the two of them had already stopped. And they looked at Sasuke. Hashirama hadn't met Sasuke at the time, and it was the same. Although both of them felt that Sasuke was very strong, they didn't expect it to be so strong. The shot just now completely broke their cognition. This man, with just one finger, blocked Madara's Yusaka Guyu, although the master also bounced it away. But it is absolutely impossible to do so lightly like Sasuke. This guy. What kind of powerful power has been mastered? Okay. This is the end of your battle. Anyway, when you return to your time, you will have a duel sooner or later, so why be so anxious? Although Madara was surprised by Sasuke's strength, it was impossible for him to give up. He must win Hashirama, even if there is nothing else. But for the loss to Hashirama, Madara is quite brooding. Get out of the way, boy. This is a battle between me and him. Madara questioned whether to keep fighting. Hashirama also sighed helplessly. Obviously, if Madara wants to continue, he will accompany him to the end. Since this is the case, I can't help you. Suddenly, Sasuke's Sharingan opens directly. The spirit of the gods was activated instantly. Susanoo and Wooden Golem dissipated at the same time. From top to bottom in an instant, it turned into countless stars and disappeared in place. But Hashirama and Madara are extremely shocking. Just saw it, now it's a personal experience. This man, unexpectedly, can disintegrate their power in an instant? What kind of power is this? Puff. Suddenly, Haibang appeared out of nowhere and pierced directly into the body, hitting both of them at the same time. 2 black sticks directly penetrated the ribs of one person, locking their arms and shoulders directly. At the same time, the chakra fluctuations in the body were directly disturbed, and the two fell directly from the sky. Madara looked at Sasuke in the air with horror. Feel the uncontrolled chakra in your body. Look at the black stick on his body again. This. What kind of power is this? Sasuke made a move, directly stopping the battle between the two. The ninjas watching the battle witnessed the power of the two dissipate instantly. He was dumbfounded. What's going on here? Why did those two horrible things suddenly disappear? Susanoo and Wooden Golem instantly turned into white spots and disappeared. It's exactly the same as Sasuke's first cast of God Spirit. Naruto smiled faintly. Sasuke's abilities are still as scary as ever. The ninjas around were slightly taken aback when they heard this. Was that ability just now the ability of Uchiha Sasuke? What kind of ability has such a terrible effect? Hokage-sama, what is that? What? Also asking this question at this moment are Madara and Hashirama. Now they can be regarded as the first time to see the pupil technique like shenmingling. It is really hard for them to understand such power. Why exactly? In an instant, their Susanoo and Wooden Golem simply disappeared. It's just irrational. What power did you use just now? Why did my Susanoo disappear in an instant? Madara asked Sasuke. Hashirama, who couldn't activate the healing ability, also looked at Sasuke in surprise. Sasuke looked at the two of them, turning back to look at Madara. This is my pupil technique. With all the power in the form of chakra, I can restore it to its original state in an instant. Pupil technique, divine spirit, varied? Madara froze in place. Sasuke's words echoed in his mind. All the power in the form of chakra can be instantly restored to its original state. That is to say, any attack with chakra is equivalent to useless in front of this kid? Is this what you mean? In other words, if Sasuke is regarded as an enemy, there is only one way to defeat Sasuke. Don't use chakra. Use gymnastics. Only physical skills can defeat this brat in front of him. But the moment he appeared just now, he clearly used some kind of spatial ability. Or space-type ninjutsu. Uchiha Sasuke who has this kind of thing, once he doesn't want to engage in close combat with others, who can force him. In other words, having these two kinds of power at the same time has already made this kid invincible. Maybe he is not the strongest in the ninja world, but I am afraid that there is no second person who can defeat him in the entire ninja world. Madara smiled helplessly, while looking at Sasuke's eyes with a trace of jealousy and envy. It would be great if such abilities were given to him. At that time, the entire ninja world can be easily subverted by him. Pupil technique, divine spirit. I'm afraid it is the most terrifying pupil technique in Uchiha's history. Whether it's a ninjutsu type pupil technique or an illusion type pupil technique, it's not as terrible as your pupil technique. At this moment, the ninjas quietly listened to Naruto's explanation. In other words, Sasuke with that pupil art, any chakra form of attack, whether it's ninjutsu, seal art, genjutsu, or whatever. As long as it is related to chakra, it will not be able to cause any effective damage to Sasuke. Having said that, the ninjas are all dumbfounded. Any attack in the form of chakra is ineffective. In the world of ninjas, being immune to chakra-type attacks is not equivalent to hacking. It's completely invincible. There are still ninjas with such abilities in this world, so isn't he considered invincible? A ninja couldn't help but sigh. However, Naruto smiled. If you have to say it, then if it is a ninja who specializes in physical arts, if it is strong enough to a certain extent, it can still pose a threat to Sasuke. Physical strength to a certain extent. How strong does it have to be? Are there really such ninjas in this world? Want to defeat Uchiha Sasuke by relying solely on taijutsu? Is it possible there shouldn't be such a monster? However, Naruto just smiled and didn't continue talking. Because if it is said that the conjoined body technique is actually very powerful, Sasuke is also very powerful. If even 8 Inner Gates Sasuke knows how to do it, these new generation ninjas will probably be scared to death. At this time, Sasuke looked at Madara and Hashirama. If you two promise not to continue fighting, then I can let you go. Although only 2 black sticks were used to trap the two. But the black stick released by Sasuke not only has the power to disturb the 2 chakra, but also carries a powerful sealing power. In this situation, even Hashirama and Madara couldn't move at all. They can only lie on the ground quietly, or sit up at most. He didn't even have the strength to pull out the black stick. The two glanced at each other, and then Madara sighed helplessly. I promise you, I won't continue to do anything. Hearing this, Sasuke nodded, raised his hand and directly activated Universal Pull, pulling out the black sticks on the 2 of them. The black stick left the bodies of the two, and the two regained their mobility immediately, and Hashirama's wounds began to heal quickly. And Sasuke was going to treat Madara, but Madara chose to refuse. Need not. A mere injury of this degree does not need treatment. Although Madara does not have the ability to heal himself, his pride also prevents him from accepting Sasuke's treatment. Since the other party didn't want it, Sasuke didn't want to say anything. Congratulations to host. Get rewarded 10 tails chakra enhancement. In the next second, the chakra on 10 tails in Sasuke's different space suddenly increased dramatically. So much so that the entire otherworld began to vibrate continuously. Sasuke sensed the change in 10 tails strength and was suddenly curious. To what extent will the 10 tails chakra enhancement rewarded by the system be enhanced? At this time Naruto came with a large group of ninjas. Of course, the first thing he looked at was not Madara and Hashirama, but Boruto, who was hiding aside. Boruto, come out. Being directly named, Boruto shuddered. But he still walked out of with Uchiha Sarada and others helplessly. He lowered his head helplessly. Originally thought that this time Naruto would reprimand him as before. However, Naruto just crouched down and said, "It's not hurt." Hearing this, Boruto froze for a moment, then nodded, "No, thanks to Sasuke, he saved us." Call Sasuke uncle. This is Dad's best friend, so strong. It was the first time I heard Naruto introduce others like this. Say directly that the other person is your best friend. Naruto smiled, while Sasuke was indifferent. From Boruto's point of view, these two people's personalities are obviously just opposite, so they can be friends. Naruto, I have some situations to deal with a little bit. Indra and Ashura, you go and have a look, said. Sasuke was about to enter the different space, but glanced at the surrounding environment. Raise your hand and pat lightly. The instant ninjutsu is activated. Yin-yang escape, creation technique. Directly let all the traces of the surrounding battle disappear, and at the same time restore to the previous appearance. Watching such a miraculous scene happen, all ninjas were dumbfounded. What kind of ninjutsu is this, to restore all the surrounding environment destroyed by the battle in a blink of an eye? Naruto was about to ask what happened to Sasuke. But the next second Sasuke had disappeared. The breath is gone immediately. Apparently, he used space-type ninjutsu and left. Naruto also doesn't know where Sasuke went.